Yellow Flash joins us this morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning. You can't stop the Titans at the box office. And a certain trailer breaks records. That and a little bit more as we're joined by the one, the only Yellow Flash this morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning. How you doing? How you doing, Yellow Flash? You been good, sir?
Been good. Lovely to be here. It's always nice.
We're happy to have you proper finally for once at the start of the show. That's awesome.
Yeah, we have a tough time linking up with mornings.
Nah, it's all right. We understand you're busy doing your thing, and that's just how it works out, man. You got to keep your own schedule. That's important because YouTube doesn't penalize you or anything for taking time off, I'm sure.
No, they encourage it. They say it's good. There'll be no penalties for it. Nothing.
Not a thing. Not a problem at all.
Can
you tell the sarcasm in our voice?
Is everywhere, so yeah.
And that other voice,
how it is to be a YouTuber,
is the sultry sounds of the one, the only boss man himself, Andre. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And I'm especially good since we have Yellow Flash here. It's awesome to have you here finally as the featured guest. Welcome, and always a pleasure to have you drop in.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
And speaking of something else that's also a pleasure is those of you that, even though we're still technically in Easter, still choose to make us part of your day. So we have Dash Des here. We have Natasha is here, our ever loyal Wrench. Happy Easter to you all, however belated. Rory Mitchell is here. Cynical Lindsay is here. Mecca J is here, and House Atreides is here, saying action time, and Etienne Falardeau says hail all, and I absolutely can agree with that. Hail one, hail all. So, Yellow Flash, what's going on these days?
Well, I think the biggest thing is in the title, Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, that is quite literally the biggest thing.
Warner's happy.
I think so. Well, and I know you and I have been arguing for like the last week over who really won, but
it was Godzilla.
Well, I'm thinking it was Kong conceded, but we'll get to that later.
I agree with Yellow Flash on this one. Clearly, Kong gave up because otherwise he'd be dead and he knew it.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Godzilla would have ripped into him. The only reason that he was alive is because he dropped the axe. Godzilla said, "Hey, all right, you're my bitch. Completely. I'm going back into the sea."
Sure. Okay.
And I will give them.
We'll go with that. We'll
coming
go
up with an ending where we can.
I still like my Rocky.
Where we can
my Rocky answer.
Debate
even though Godzilla took him down, Godzilla was still the one who killed the thing that could have. Or King Kong was still the one who killed the thing that was going to kill Godzilla. So it still makes him a winner in my book.
He's a loyal number two.
Are you saying he's a power bottom?
He's the power bottom.
I don't know.
He's doing his boss's bidding.
I don't know. But what I do know is that we got a couple super chats. Why don't we grab those real quick, Andre?
We do. Let's start with the ones that we can no longer get up on screen because there are a couple. I thought there were some funny ones in there. House Atreides starts us off saying, "Congrats on 200K Midnight's Edge. 3 hails for you." Well, thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who helped us achieve that.
Thank you.
There will, of course, be a 200K celebratory stream. We're having that on Thursday, so just mark your calendars for that. It'll be 2 hours after, well, basically this time. So if you do the calculations.
In normal people talk, that's 1 p.m. Central, 11 Pacific.
And 8 p.m. Central European time.
Yeah.
And then we have Panzerkrok, who says for $10, I'd rather see or skip the film in the theater than purchase a Blu-ray hard copy when available. Unless the streaming services have continuous new content, I can't see paying the fee every month.
Well, according to Warner, they will be having new content every month. But
yeah, next month's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and a couple other
things. Wait for that.
There's a Conjuring movie coming too, and a couple original films that aren't attached to any franchises. But yeah, they do have a few movies coming out.
Yeah. And then Spider Unlimited says, Easter over. Had rabbit for dinner. Yeah, it's definitely over when you eat the Easter bunny. then that's it for this year.
What's up, Nick?
And then, just to catch up here, Stephen Otten says, Hail, Midnight's Edge, Yellow Flash, Wrenches, and everyone in the chat.
Hail.
Was at the doctor's office earlier, and it seems I am, in fact, alive. Well, I'm so glad to hear that, Stephen. We really appreciate
good diagnosis.
You and everyone else being here, alive and well. That's kind of like a big deal. So we always appreciate when that is the case after coming from the doctor. Dash Des says, for 10 Canadian dollars, Kong just goes to show you, give people even a taste of what they want, and they'll give you money, even if it's meh. If meh is what they want, give it to them. Happy Easter all. May your God smile on you.
From the sound of that, it doesn't sound like Dash DC was too impressed with Godzilla versus Kong, but I know Yellow Flash and I were. I know you were a little more lukewarm to it, Andre, but I think you enjoyed more just the hype that we were all kind of having surrounding it.
I'm really happy that the fans, which are the ones that should be pleased first and foremost, if they are happy, that's the most important thing. Because really, none of the movies in this cinematic universe, or really in any of the franchises leading up to this, have like really set my world on fire. So I'm kind of like not the person that is supposed to be won over by it. Like there's kind of like, I didn't even like. I liked Kong versus the Kong Skull Island fine, and even with that, it had like some tonal issues in my book. So never mind me. If you guys like it, that's the most important thing. And Emperor Billy Ritchie appears to agree with Yellow Flash and myself because he says Godzilla won.
Make my argument and only pay him
$25. $50.
Just make my argument and pay him $25 and call it a tie. There you go.
Yeah. So go with that.
That way, nobody loses. You know.
Yeah,
that's the best part about this is everybody wins with Kong versus Godzilla because it's just a fun popcorn, turn your brain off movie. And we haven't had a good one of those in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has indeed. You really have to appreciate that. Well, to be fair, it was the Snyder cut, but that was made a long time ago.
Yeah, that was when it came out, it was a clusterfuck. And I mean, even as a certain form, I don't know if you could call it a turn your brain off film like this, because it's just there's so many moving parts to the Snyder cut.
Yeah, this is true. Whereas Godzilla is.
It's monkey and lizard fight.
Disable certain mental processes.
It's monkey lizard fight. That's all it is.
I think that they were trying to make it like The Room.
Oh, hi, Kong.
That's what I got out of it because the plot is so over the top.
Oh, it is
ridiculous. I mean, Mechagodzilla's pilot sits in a skull because I mean, why not?
Fuck yeah.
Why do they need a skull and it's got tubes coming out of it? Like, it just didn't make any sense.
All the lovely, nonsensical sci-fi stuff is the kind of stuff that just comes right out of the old Godzilla films. So that kind of stuff I can completely embrace. It's like Millie Bobby Brown's part was the stuff I had issue with. You know, like it's just too much of the nonsensical. We don't need this taking up too much time.
I loved how they could walk into that maximum security spot, just no problem. Nobody saw them. They just walked right in. They get off that elevator like there's no security guards.
Well, yeah. I mean, this Apex company is supposed to be this super, like, multi-billion-dollar company. You're right. And it's just because the podcaster breaks in the first part of the movie, right?
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Yeah, the black Alex Jones guy.
Yeah.
I'll eat your neighbor's ass.
I loved Godzilla drilling down to the hollow earth. Like,
He's like, come get me.
it was such a big deal to get there, and then he just blows a hole right down to the middle of the earth.
Well, let's be real. Like the whole hollow earth thing was kind of like, how do we get Kong?
That was the highlight of the movie.
To the other real quick, but yeah, it's setting up other stuff later, and we'll actually get into that as we get going here. But let's finish up these super chats. Hyper Guyver says, "Hey Tom, you're the Superman fan. What's your take on Gene Yang changing Superman's trademark quote to truth, tolerance, and justice?"
Oh,
that's the first I've heard of it. Actually,
yeah, John Ridley wrote it. It's in Superman Blue and White, I think it's called. I haven't read it yet.
What the hell is Superman Blue and White?
It's
and why is red not there?
It's maybe it is blue and red. I have the book. I haven't read it yet, but it's.
Oh, I'm sure if they took anything out, it'd be the white.
Yeah, I watched a video that Critical Thinking did on it. I haven't read the book yet. I do have it, but apparently they take out a lot of the stuff, like American Way's gone.
Fuck.
I have to say, as someone who is not American, I find that offensive. It offends me to the core that you would take out truth, justice, and the American way. Because the American way, the rest of the world, that has always symbolized opportunity, equality, freedom. And when you take that away, you take away something absolutely fundamental to the character, and you replace that with truth, tolerance, and justice. To me, that comes across like 1984 cult speak, like we believe in truth over facts. That kind of like thing.
They did this a while ago.
It says to me,
they had him renounce his citizenship a couple of years ago.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ.
Considering that Superman is the ultimate immigrant story, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree, but they want to take all that away from the character.
And then, I was reminded this weekend, sorry, Yellow Flash, about the whole Snyder making Superman like into a Jesus figure kind of thing, because he's actually more of a Moses figure. Because I was reminded of that this weekend when I saw the 10 Commandments. I'm like, yeah, that's right. But no, like, come on. I mean, I even love that line in the 70s film when he's like, I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. And then Lois laughs at him and she's like, you'll be fighting every elected politician in the government, basically. And it's still there.
She don't know how right she was.
She was, but it doesn't matter. And then Superman just stands there deadpan because he's serious. Because he's there to stand for what America originally stood for, and that's kind of the point. And welcome, Culture Casino, to the show. But no, like that's what bothers me most is like, because you've said it a few times. I've heard several other people that I've talked to from other countries say it, that they've been to America, and it's like the least racist country they've ever been to, and until all this, recent nonsensical clown world bullshit. But yeah, not to get all political.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And those that think otherwise, take a trip outside of the States and see what you find. Pretty much anywhere else on the planet, literally anywhere else. If you think there's a more tolerant, open society anywhere, you are in for a nasty surprise.
No, that's very true. I mean, as recently as 2018, and I don't have the study like pulled up in front of me, but there was a study done that actually correlated with a map from around the country that indicated that the United States was not only the most tolerant, but the most accepting of every other race on the entire planet. And traditionally, the United States has always been a melting pot. So, have there been periods of time in our history where we've had racial strife and difficulty? Absolutely. But those things were for the most part, eliminated in this country, as early or as recently as, the 1990s. You had a very, very much more tolerance, racial acceptance, the whole nine yards. In fact, we came out of the 80s in a live and let live mode. If any of you lived through that period of time, the 80s was all about indulgence and freedom and optimism. We were coming out of a very dark period of time in the 70s, especially the latter half of the 70s going into the 80s. So, it became a very different world. So when you look at those statistics and those numbers, again, the study's out there. If I had it handy, I'd pull it up. But, the United States is, in the entire world, the most accepting, tolerant, and racially accepting country in the entire world. I mean, and when people try to propose other governmental systems, there are a lot of things to point at in the United States that are vastly superior. It's just right now the idea is to tear down anything American because they have some kind of an agenda. But I don't want to talk about politics here. And thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Yes, good morning, Culture. And I hope you had a happy Easter as well.
Yeah,
Valiant Renegade says, happy Monday and happy 200K, Midnight's Edge, and welcome Yellow Flash. Yes, we're glad to have him here. It's always a pleasure to have him as a guest. Let's see here. Did we have any more? Yeah, we did have a couple.
Yeah, we missed one from in the meantime, who said between the two, who said, hi, gents. And then we have Rob Bass, who says, I hated Kong versus Godzilla.
Sorry about that.
The story was trash, but the fight scene were spectacular. Kong is still king, but Godzilla won. I want to see more. Well, there
you hated it.
Who hated the movie. I want to see more. So yeah, jump. Well,
I understand how he feels though, because that's kind of how I felt about King of the Monsters. It's like all the monster stuff was fucking amazing, but all the human stuff was just dragging the film down. And are you the Rob Bass? I don't think so, but that would be cool if you were. That'd be awesome. Let's see here. We also have one from Dark King. I want the Snyder cut of King Kong versus Godzilla. It's funny you mentioned this. There's people that have been talking about this to the point where the director even said, oh yeah, there's like 5 hours worth of footage if they really wanted it.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God.
Is it 5 hours of human stuff?
I hope to hell not.
Because then I don't know.
That's probably what it is. I mean, like that monster stuff, that's expensive. Everything
exactly
they're going to put in the movie. So if there's 5 hour stuff, it's going to be like it's the extended, boring human cut that you really wanted to see cut down further. So really, for something like this, you don't want the Snyder cut. You want this. This is where you want the Whedon cut, cutting down of all the human.
The other thing it could be is the stuff from the reshoots, because that's the other thing. Remember, is this movie went into reshoots right after King of the Monsters opened, because King of the Monsters disappointed a little bit at the box office, but I did look it up last night, and my theory was correct. It brought in $30 million almost on video alone. So that's why this franchise the kids are getting into it. Like now that the movies aren't so dark and they're more into just the monsters fighting, obviously kids are loving it. But would I want to sit through 5 hours of this? I don't know about that.
No, because you're right. It would be all the human stuff, and that's all everybody's criticism, including mine, which is get the humans in the nonsensical plot out of the way of this film. This is, I mean, you could have cut more of an adventure down in Hollow Earth, and it would have been amazing, because you would have had Kong confronting additional giant, monsters like he did right when they got there. I don't know. Are we allowed to spoil this film? I feel like
we kind of have some bits,
okay,
but I mean,
all right, but more time down in Hollow Earth would have been amazing. That's going to be kind of the source of all of these monsters going forward. So I'm really excited. These, again, turn your brain off. It's a popcorn film, right? Because the humans in this film are superfluous, but I absolutely liked the monster battles, and I'm with Rob Bass. That's where I landed. I thought this was amazing. And the box office tells the true tale here. This thing mirrors almost exactly King of Monsters, which is amazing.
And at 33% capacity.
Well,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it actually is. That's the funny thing. You're bringing up that Yellow Flash.
It actually beat Terminator Dark Fate's total.
That's
in theaters for 66 days.
It's astounding.
Well, but wait, it also beat Wonder Woman 1984 already.
Yep.
In less than 10 days of release globally, it's already kicked the complete bejesus out of that film. I'm trying not to curse. So.
Well, and I also got to agree with Rob Bass because it takes two to do a thing to make a thing go right, especially when it comes to Godzilla and Kong. And that's a deep cut for my old brother and sisters out there who know.
Yeah, I was like, is that really Rob Bass?
That's what I'm like saying. I'm like, it takes two to make a thing go right.
Has it beaten Birds of Prey total?
Almost. Oh, domestically, not yet, I don't think. But
what about what about the global total?
I'm pretty sure by now because it's made. I want to say over 300 million globally altogether. Because it did 70 million stateside altogether.
Oh, it's gonna beat that.
And then it did 125 first weekend, and it did another, I believe, 60 or 70 outside the U.S. again. So, like I said, it's easily made 300 million by now, almost.
Let's see. I have it.
Yeah, you could probably grab the actual numbers, but
the
weekend total was 48.5 million. And everybody's predictions, it blew them out of the water, and it just came in underneath my prediction by a little bit. But I have a feeling if more theaters were open, it would have just. I mean, we were looking at $120 million opening weekend. Easy.
This would have been a massive success if the theaters were at full capacity and they were open worldwide.
Yeah, I'm thinking this would have been a good $1 billion contender.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this would have easily overperformed 800 million. I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And also, like, the response is pretty positive too, isn't it? Because again, ignore me. I'm a negative Nancy on this particular thing, and I'm perfectly well aware of that. Like, I'm the first to acknowledge it. Like, it's not really for me because giant monsters have never been for me. And still, even I was able to find some things to enjoy about it. So then imagine everyone else.
Well, and half the human characters are okay in this film. That's what sucks. And I want to.
Yeah, they were. It was just like that idiot trio that went to.
It's the returning characters that were the problem with the last movie.
Exactly. Yeah, but the new ones, they gave us all the important narration we needed about like the Hollow Earth and everything, which I think is a really cool concept.
They only existed to get the monsters into their places,
which is good. That's what the human characters are supposed to be there for.
It's perfect.
And I love, and I know some people were like, oh, about the little girl giving her shit about being the key to everything. I'm like, no. Stop a minute. The difference here is if you go back to classic Godzilla films, there's always like characters like that, even going back to the Mothra twins and stuff like that. I don't mind that kind of a character. What I hate is the Millie Bobby Brown character.
Yes.
That character is so out of place, and she's the one that's the quote unquote key to everything, even though what they do pretty much does nothing. But I mean, her being the star of this movie really is kind of what drags it down in the end.
Okay, remind me, who's she again? Is she the daughter of Kyle Chandler?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, she was completely pointless.
She was in the second one, wasn't she?
Exactly.
I haven't watched King of the Monsters in a long time.
Yeah, and that was my problem with the last film was like her and her mother's characters were completely dragging the film down because the mom makes stupid choices. And all you had to do was just have the bad guys force her into turning on the machine so they could draw out the monsters. And then that's all the human story had to be. But no, they made all this convoluted bullshit.
Yeah. I was so worried about like this little girl that was talking with Kong from the trailers. I was like thinking, this is going to be the thing that drags down the movie. Here we have like this stupid version of like Mothra and the twins or whatever. But this was honestly like almost the best relationship in the whole movie. You would have thought that's what we should have gotten more of. I agree with Tom. We're missing a movie right there.
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in between. I'm still confused if they're actually on Skull Island still or if they moved him. Because
I think that they're on Skull Island.
Yeah, but
it's a containment on Skull Island that was washed away into the sea, like all the native population were implied to have been taken by a giant storm or something. And
the storm that surrounded the island.
And then they went in and built that huge containment there afterwards. So basically, humans beat the shit out of Godzilla and are able to take him captive on the boat and everything like that. So Yeah, it's going on that. And also, before we move on, have to address one super chat here. We have a couple of that we're going to get to, but this one deserves to be highlighted extra. Mags
Holy
says
cow.
for $50. Thank you so much, Mags. Hail Andre, Tom, and all of Midnight's Edge. Congrats to 200K. You guys deserve this. Hello, Yellow Flash and Culture Casino.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mags. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you so much. And be sure to be here for our 200 celebration on Thursday, 2 hours after this time. That's 8 p.m. Central European time. And beyond that, yeah, again, Tom have to do the
1
math.
Central Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, I believe it is.
I think Mags is in Virginia, if memory serves me right. So that would be like East Coast time.
Yeah, so then that would be like 2 East Coast time. And I think Yellow Flash may be trying to make an appearance, and I know I have confirmations from quite a few other people, so that will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
We've got a few people dropping in to say hi and all that good stuff, so stay tuned for that. And we're also going to be revealing some other surprises. I dropped a teaser yesterday on Twitter that got a very, very good response. I don't know if you saw that, Culture. I dropped that that picture.
I haven't had a chance. I've been playing catch up all morning, so but I'll catch it. I'll take a look at it for sure.
Well, I said this little guy has 0 fucks to give, but hopefully you will.
Snyder Cut fans are at it again. Deathstroke HBO Max is trending.
Hey, go for it, man.
Wow.
AT&T
Yeah,
does-
go for it. Go for it. That's what you have to do. Make it trend. Seriously,
it.
make it trend. Make it visible. Do it. Good on you.
I may
That's how
not be
you
a
do
fan
it.
of the Snyder stuff, and Yellow Flash knows that, but at the same time,
wasn't
I'm not
either.
a fan of the overcorrection either.
I wasn't a fan of it until that movie. The Snyder Cut movie was perfect. I liked it a lot. I did not like Man of Steel that much, and I did not like Batman versus Superman.
I actually went to see it in the theater twice just to make sure I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I got a free
that's like
ticket, but
that's like such a great strategy. Like, I really hated this. I'm gonna pay to watch it.
I
one
wasn't
more
sure
time just to make
Couldn't
sure.
see the movie, Andre.
Yeah, no, I get what you're coming
You
from.
want to
but
like it, You want to.
I did.
You
too. I
want
was
to, and you
so
have to make
hyped
sure that
for
you
it.
didn't.
And I was ready for that movie to make up for all the things I didn't like about Man of Steel. Like all the people who were like, oh, the first movie is just him becoming Superman, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, fine, show me. And I was so disappointed.
Yeah. In my personal opinion, most of the time when I have to stop and think about something, did I like this or did I not? Then I think that almost always, upon further examination, the conclusion has been, I absolutely hated this. And the reason I was in doubt was I couldn't comprehend how much I hated it the first time around.
See, that was more like with Last Jedi. The thing with real quick about BVS was, and I've told this before, but I don't think Yellow Flash heard this, was the people said the projector wasn't working right and the 3D wasn't working. I didn't see that part. I mean, it was just dark in general. So like my buddy and I were like, well, we'll come back tomorrow with our free tickets. Maybe there was something we didn't see. Maybe, there's stuff we're missing in the peripheral that's not helping us with the story. Cause we were just like, what the fuck did we just watch kind of thing? So yeah, we did. We went back the next day, fresh eyed, and no, there was nothing wrong with the night before. I think people were just complaining because they couldn't see the fucking movie. That's all I could figure. I'm like, no, I was pretty sure the 3D was working the night before. It was just the movie was dark and gray.
Here's the thing: when you have a movie that's filmed in dark and gray, and you sit inside, and you try to watch it with sunglasses, I mean, dark and gray really doesn't lend itself that well to 3D in the first place.
Solo had the same problem. You had a dingy brown movie in dark and mist, and if you try to watch it in 3D, everything just gets lost.
Yeah, that was a trend I was happy to see go away, all that 3D shit.
Yes and no on my part, because there were some good ones we got out of there, but most of them were
very few.
Very few. But the ones that were good were really good.
Yeah,
Dread. I didn't even see the movie in 3D. I I didn't even see that movie in 3D, but I could tell, like, if I had, that would have been
Oh, it was
something that would
amazing.
sell you on it.
It was
Ant-Man's
amazing in
great.
3D.
Guardians films are great in 3D.
Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy was amazing in 3D, and that really used the concept because when you're in the real world, it's not in 3D, it's in 2D, and then as soon as they go into the computer, then it becomes 3D. So that was kind of cool.
Exactly. It's a kind of like Alice in Wonderland, but like 3D instead of color.
Yeah,
But
but anyway,
that really worked.
so yeah, so this is a big deal. This is making some money. It would have been making a lot more money had the theaters been open, and possibly it not even being on HBO Max. But I'm willing to argue that out of, let's say, 5 people who have HBO Max, I'm betting at least 2 out of that 5 people are going to see it in theaters as well. That seems to be about the average I'm hearing from people. Like there's people who are waiting to see it in theater first.
That's pretty astounding numbers, especially when you consider like some of the movies that were released, wide theatrical releases pre-pandemic that couldn't beat it. Like, for instance, as you mentioned, Terminator Woke Fate.
Right.
I mean, I really feel bad for Schwarzenegger. Like the director and the writers and producers, they all have it coming. They deserve that for what they did. But I feel bad for Schwarzenegger for that, for like basically seeing that massive fail, and also for what everything he had to say
For Arnold?
in the movie. Yeah,
Arnold knew what he was doing.
I was going to say, I think
he read
Arnold,
the script.
yeah, he could have vetoed some of that.
He should have said, "Why are you killing John?"
Not just that. How can you make me an interior decorator? What the fuck is that?
yeah, he probably should have.
This relationship.
Yeah.
Come on, like fuck off.
This
my
is true.
name.
He probably should have
Nobody's
done
gonna
what he
believe
did with the Predator and declined the hell out of it. That's honestly what he should have done.
Or at least got in there and said, "No, you're going to change this. It's bullshit."
Yeah.
Because man,
Yeah,
I mean,
this is a good point.
Thing, because I mean, what really sucks is Linda Hamilton's great in that film. The rest of the movie around her is shit.
Same with Arnold, man. Both of them looked way too old to be
Her,
action
though,
stars.
No, not in the action star bit, but the acting bit. I liked. I mean, she just jumped right back in the role. Arnold, in that movie, he sucked. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Again, I think he's gone so over the woke business rainbow that he was all on board with that shit, dude. I think you're right, Yellow Flash. I think he was like all cool with it. But I mean, the movie itself was like Linda Hamilton's not her fault. I mean, it should have been her training John's daughter after John sacrifices himself to save her, is what it should have been.
Something to that end, yeah.
But you can't show men in a positive light, Tom. So I mean, that wasn't going to work.
Well, not only that, I said you could have also played into the fact that Edward Furlong has had nothing but troubles his whole life. You bring him back, and you have him blame his mother for him being this burnt out drunk because she made him think he was going to be this fucking soldier, and the future never happened that she promised, but it's still coming. It just, like they present in the movie, shit got delayed because of how they ended Terminator 2 and 3 or whatever, or Terminator 2 if you just want to go with that one, however you want to do it. I mean, that would have been a much better story and been like, because, they've already set up several times over that John has a kid eventually anyway in the story in 2 or 3 different versions. So
yeah, I think that probably would have been a better way to go about it. But again, I mean, you can't show a positive male role model or a man actually, assisting a woman, or training a woman or anything. A man can't have anything to do with anything positive at all.
Well, which sucks because that's what Terminator 2 had in spades. You had, Sarah Connor at her peak, in badass form. And then you also had Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the fatherly role, even though he was a fucking robot. I mean, Linda Hamilton even has that scene where she's talking about how he's the greatest father this kid could ever have, basically, even though he's a machine. It's like, and how he's related to this thing. And even though it's supposed to be the thing that destroys humanity and he's supposed to destroy, it's this weird bond they have. I mean, that's the thing, is they just don't even understand their own movies. And James Cameron just didn't give a fuck. And that's the funny thing is I love it when people are like, oh, but James Cameron gave it a pass. It's like, yeah, but he gave the last 2 or 3 a pass too. Why? Because he doesn't give a shit.
No, he's been
so does everybody else.
Yeah, but here's like the thing that he's been abundantly clear about it, because he's like said after the fact, okay, yeah, of course I'm gonna give it a pass because my friends make it, and I get a shit ton of money for it. So I'm going to give it a pass right there in theaters. I'm going to throw it under the bus and say what a piece of shit it was a couple of years later. That's what he does. That's his MO for those things.
Anyhow, we went way down a rabbit hole, but I wanted to bring this up. Speaking of rabbit holes, people are talking about, and I thought that it had been settled, but I did some research and it hasn't. I guess Legendary and Warner Brothers have not come to a deal with Toho yet for any sequels.
Yeah, that's what's going on with. That's why I didn't have a after credit scene.
Yeah, but they do have it set up to continue to go forward, even if they can't have Godzilla. And the other
I don't know if it
Godzilla
works without Godzilla.
Well, what it is going to be is Kong and the Hollow Earth. They already have a Netflix cartoon, I guess, in the works.
Yeah, that's like the thing that they do now. They have set up a whole world where they don't need Godzilla. They'd like to have him if they can get him, but as long as they have Kong, they can build everything around that. We don't need to see Godzilla again. We kind of like have the thing already.
Yeah, I mean, here's the funny thing though, is I heard Toho, and I think you told me this originally, Andre, but I've seen it other places since, is that they're more than happy right now just to kick back and collect the money. That's why they canceled Shin Godzilla 2, because the only stipulation they have is they cannot release a movie over there the same year they have one of the Legendary movies coming out. That's the only stipulation.
Yeah, why can't they just do both then? That it doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't let Hollywood Godzilla go forward.
With Shin Godzilla, because they can make Godzilla movies, but just not in the same year as a Legendary Godzilla.
That's the only stipulation.
If they wanted to, they could do Shin Godzilla Part 2. They themselves were the ones that dropped the ball on that. I can even tell you what the story would have been.
They didn't even distribute that over here. They had to let Funimation do it.
Yeah,
so I doubt they made that much money off of that release over here because they let that trash company distribute it.
Yeah, but they don't have a distribution wing around the world, so they have to rely on international distribution of selling it internationally. That's how it's always been with those things. They've never had.
No, but I get what Yellow Flash is saying. Like they could have come up with a better deal for that movie. I don't know why they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of curious. I mean, I'd love to hear the rest of what you got to say, Andre, on that. But like you just said, I knew they were going to they were planning on doing Shin Godzilla 2, and then they just scrapped it. And because from what I heard, the money they were making off the toys and the movies from Legendary, they were like, we don't need to do anything else right now, unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I think that's like the thing. They get collect such a huge licensing fee that they actually earn more on Godzilla just by sitting back and letting Legendary do it than actually making the work themselves.
Well, all I can see right now is there's some kind of holdout, and that could be like maybe Toho's like wanting more money.
I don't even know if Shin Godzilla 2 would work with if they're going to get the Evangelion creator to come back and make it again, because it's not. I don't see that movie being good without him. Number one, he's the reason that movie was so damn good. And that guy's not. It's hard to lock him. It took him 14 years just to finish the damn rebuild movies that he's been doing. The Evangelion rebuild movies. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, but
yeah. There's 4 of them. The fourth one just came out and it's a massive hit in Japan. It's making tons of money. But it took him, the first one came out in like 2007. It is just now finished. It just finished. So I mean he's very slow, and who knows if he'll even agree to it. You make a Shin Godzilla 2 without him, I don't even know if that movie would be any good. So
well, you were saying, Andre, about what it would be.
Yeah, it was basically going to be Godzilla splitting off into ever new forms. We saw that he was like splitting into like human forms, and it was going to continue to evolve into to new forms and eventually take over the entire planet. That was there's a ton more detail. But that's the gist of it. It's him continuing to evolve into many, 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 many new different forms and many, 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 many copies and taking over the whole world. When I saw the concept, I was like, I think we're pretty okay with them not having proceeded further. And I liked Shin Godzilla.
So the rights deal is now in question because I'm sorry, my takeaway had always been that they just couldn't have a theatrical release the same calendar year.
Here's the thing: is it was only up through Kong versus Godzilla, and last I knew, I thought they were in talks to extend it, but maybe that's all the farther it went was talks. Because I went to research it again, and like Yellow Flash pointed out, they didn't even have an end credits scene in this movie because they're not 100% sure where they're going to go from here. I think that's the case where they're at. They're kind of at a crossroads like Disney was with Spider-Man before, when Sony hadn't talked to him for 6 months. Like,
wow. Oh yeah.
I think they're kind of at this point where they're like, all right, well, if they're willing to make a deal, great. But if not, then we're going to just go forward with the MonsterVerse with Kong being the centerpiece now, which I can see. And I know some people aren't going to be happy about that, but I mean, if they're not going to make a deal, what are you going to do? I mean,
yeah.
I think that more people are probably going to be happy about that than if it had been the other way around. Because I think that the big reason that this movie is such a hit is more so Kong than Godzilla.
I know the Godzilla fans don't want to hear that, but I believe that's true too.
I don't know. I think Godzilla is way more popular.
Globally, you're probably right, Yellow
To a
Flash.
point, yes, but the box office doesn't even ring that out because the Kong movie made more than the 2 Godzilla films, and now that he's in a Godzilla film,
I to be honest, I never even watched Skull Island.
Yeah, and it's easier, and again, I mean, it's why I like the little girl character in this film, and why I thought she wasn't a mess was because she made Kong more relatable, the sign language and everything else, which people already have in their head because they've been introduced to the idea that gorillas, can communicate that.
Simple sign language.
Yeah. And so it like I said, it makes that character closer to what we want to do with animals is anthropomorphize them. So it makes them more sympathetic. So I see that the MonsterVerse could continue for Legendary, in turn Warner Brothers, of course, but in Hollow Earth, and I think that's if I were going to do something like that, I would have just an entire, world in Hollow Earth for Kong to interact with and for the humans to get in the way of. So
is King Kong public domain?
Technically, yes.
So there's no rights there. They can
do whatever the hell they want with him.
I think the character is, but I believe the actual story, the original story where he climbs the Empire State Building and all that shit, I think
you don't need that.
Technically copyrighted.
Yeah. So as long as they avoid that particular story, they can use the character.
Which is where
just have him climb the Sears Tower.
Well, there's the thing is I've argued that this isn't even technically the same Kong, and I've taken this as the basically what we got from Godzilla versus Kong, which I call the Toho Kong, or you could even call it possibly the Rankin and Bass.
You'll note that they don't call him
yeah.
King Kong.
Yeah,
they
not
call
very
him
often.
Kong,
Yeah.
and they refer to him as the king, but they never ever say King Kong. That is how they're able to get around that. Like if you had King Kong in the title, then you'd have a rights issue, especially if you have him climbing tall buildings.
Toho actually,
but you call him
Kong,
Kong, the king. There's no issue at all. They don't have to pay anything.
Well, and even still, King Kong itself is, I don't believe, copyrighted, but it's just that story specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
And other than that, like, because when Toho did King Kong versus Godzilla back in the day, they did have to license the character. But then they jumped over to the Rankin and Bass Kong, which was produced by Toho, but it was like a joint thing with Rankin and Bass, and that's where the cartoon came off of. So King Kong Escapes, even though most people think it's a sequel to Godzilla versus Kong, is technically not, but I still kind of consider it all that same kind of thing, where that's the goofy Toho Kong, and that's what we're seeing here is what I consider it. It's not that's why he's bigger, that's why he's not, climbing Empire State Buildings and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm all on board with seeing like an expansion of the story there, but I mean, having Godzilla along though is a big deal. Although I think one of the reasons this franchise has become such a hit now is you have all these quadrants coming together. You have the Godzilla fans, you have the Kaiju fans, which in themselves are kind of their own kind of thing, which kind of intermingles with the anime fans. So that's kind of another group of fans you're bringing to this. And then as we were just talking about King Kong in general, he has another group of fans, which are even cinephiles, which I believe those are probably the ones that are giving this movie bad reviews because they're just not understanding what they're seeing here. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're not getting the whole Godzilla verse thing, which is kind of more of what this is, I think. You know, because most cinephiles are like expecting to see like, you know, the classic King Kong kind of thing.
Yeah, they're in for disappointment, as I'm sure they will have figured out by now, hence the bad reviews.
Yeah. And I mean, Kong Skull Island is one that was a little bit more relatable to more people, and I think that's another reason why it did better at the box office. But again, I digress. King of the Monsters sold very well on video. Very well.
Yeah, I got the 4K disc. I even got the Skull Island. I just haven't watched it.
But yeah, I looked it up. It did over $28 million just on Blu-ray and DVD sales. That's pretty good.
Yeah, these days that is pretty incredibly good, considering that very few things sell that amount of numbers. Like, by contrast, I know you found this earlier, Tom. Like, how much did season 1 of Star Trek Picard do? Just for a comparison,
it sold an entire 50,000 units.
Does that show come out on home video?
Yeah, I don't even know how they can.
Picard came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
what? I didn't even know.
50,000 units is all it sold.
That's pathetic.
That's basically $2 million. That's
yeah. You know what? That's bad. If that had been a release in Norway only, that would still have been bad.
Let's put it this way: there's like limited editions that have more more copies than that they make, and I don't even know how they can justify printing that disc. They had to have lost money
Discovery?
on it. I have to look again because they just have.
You know what? I have a slight inkling of why they might have done it. It could have been part of Patrick Stewart's contract that he gets this and this cut for Blu-ray sales, and there has to be Blu-ray sales. Doesn't say how many, but there has to be.
I'm sure he was.
Might be something with the contracts to some of the stars involved. That has to be part of it. I would
sure he was disappointed in that royalty check.
Oh, honestly, with that show, there are far bigger things to be disappointed by, and if he doesn't see that, then that's an issue.
I made more in the theater.
Yeah, oh my God.
Season 1 of Discovery actually surprisingly did okay. It made almost $10 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it was loads of people that hadn't seen
that. Season 2 did half that.
Yeah, that's because people had actually seen season 1 by that time. That makes sense.
Let's put Wrath of Khan on 4K and see how well that sells compared to that trash.
Well, Wrath of Khan was
still waiting, Paramount.
Yeah, never released on 4K, but the actual standard Blu-ray, I'm willing to bet, has done a lot. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's made almost as much. This is what I'm saying, these older films, and this is why I feel like Hollywood is missing the boat on this. Just in video sales alone, Star Trek II Wrath of Khan over its lifetime has made almost $100 million. Just in video sales.
Wow.
They want to get rid of physical now, too.
Yeah, they do, and Warner is the ones
they have to get rid of physical to make the streaming stuff work. So,
yeah, $95 million. If they released the 4K version, like you were just saying, shit.
Yeah, I want them to release all the original ones in 4K, so I can get them before, because this is the last physical media we'll get is 4K. So I'm trying to buy up all my favorites to have them. You know, because we're not going to get 8K discs. This is the best to look.
Disney and Warner Brothers just made that happen. Warner killed the archive, which was one of the last bastions of, you know, them putting out classic films, because the way Killar sees it is every DVD and Blu-ray sale is a subscription to HBO Max lost. And when Disney said they're going to be very selective with what they release, that means that they're not going to be releasing a lot of classic films now.
Well, at least we're going to get Indiana Jones.
Yeah, well, that's a Paramount release, and they're just they're pretty picky and choosy as well.
Yeah, because from their point of view, every physical media sale is a Paramount Plus subscription lost. Only, with the exception, and of course, of Indiana Jones, because they don't
Well,
have
that's
like the
something they
full
can
rights for
afford.
them. So yeah,
Here's the other side of Paramount. They can't. I don't think they can afford to release 4K movies right now. 90% of the movies that they've remastered in 4K have only gotten standard Blu-ray releases, but then have been released in digital form in 4K, like Wrath of Khan, Airplane. Like there's a bunch. Any movie that they've come out with these new special editions where the cover folds out, the couple Eddie Murphy movies they did, Golden Child, Trading Places, all those are available in 4K, but only on digital, and that's it. So that's like the future, guys, and it sucks because it's not the same.
not it most certainly is not.
Well, not
So
just
preserve
take into consideration that they can take it away and all these other bullshit things.
I don't trust them because you've already seen them try to pull bullshit with movies.
Oh yeah,
They remember they tried it with Back to the Future, and everyone called them on their shit, and they put it back. They took that Ooh La La magazine out of Back to the Future too.
yeah, that was on Netflix.
yeah. There was their explanation. I still don't buy.
So they say.
Yeah, I don't buy the explanation.
What was that explanation?
Supposedly, it was a Canadian release or something or other.
You have to protect the fees of the Canadians,
Which
and
makes
the
no
Canadians
sense
might
because it
be
was just
offended
that.
by Ooh La La magazine.
What's stupid, Andre, is they show it in like the scene before it and all that kind of stuff, and the way the cut happens, it's not like a standard cut. And I still stand by it. It reminds me of the PG version on Vudu. And I brought this up before, is like if you had Vudu, I don't even know if they still do this anymore because people probably didn't even use it, because it accidentally got turned on me one day because I was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on when my movie was starting skipping through parts. It's a really bad kind of like digital, like it just would pick up swear words and stuff like that, and it would skip over entire lines and scenes. And so I'm like, that's what it seemed like to me. It was like if maybe Netflix was testing this like kid version or whatever, to where parents could turn on, like a protective mode, and then the digital thing would detect something and it would skip over it. And that's what it looked like to me when I saw the footage.
Oh, very considerate of them.
I know, right? Well, because like you could cut that without even noticing it. As an editor, I could see that as plain as day. And it's like, yeah, that makes no sense.
Oh.
And they didn't edit anything else out either. That was the other thing.
Yeah, I don't see it. Wasn't that movie PG anyway? Was that PG?
Yeah,
movie?
it is. But like it just reminded me because I had the setting accidentally. I must have bumped it on one day or something like that on my Vudu. And I'm watching a movie, I think it was Problem Child or something like that. And it just started skipping over scenes and lines. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and it was really random and really badly done. And what it is, it's like an algorithm. Yeah.
The funny thing is, all three of them would be PG-13 if they came out today.
Of course.
So would Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing is, this is Netflix's explanation on the Back to the Future thing, just real quickly, was that Universal had furnished them with a censored copy of the film rather than the film.
So they blame it on Universal now?
Yeah, that's the update that I just picked up. So
bullshit. That's bullshit.
So you're not buying that?
No, I'm not at all. Because even if they did, because like I said, if you were going to edit that out, you could do it much smoother than the way it gets cut. Because the one who discovered that, at least in our community, was Justin Proper.
Yeah,
and he played the bit, and you could go see it for a while till they fixed it, and it was there. It was like it was embedded in the whatever it was, the video. I was trying to say, yeah.
Yeah, somebody's bringing up the ghost blowjob. Well, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of innuendos in Ghostbusters 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
All of that got cut out for the sequel, too, by the way.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I still think the sequel is an okay movie.
The
sequel's biggest problem is it's not as good as the first one, but does that make it a bad movie?
Compared to a lot of sequels, no. It could have been worse. That's for sure. But so I think it's interesting that I'm sure this is what Toho was probably waiting out. They were waiting to see how this film played out. What do you guys think? And now we'll probably start hearing if they make a deal or not.
I think they'll try to get the best deal that they can possibly get.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if they really were on pause with their rights deal, which is what it seems like, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you want to have the best leverage you can get. This is it. I mean, this film is overperforming projections substantially. On the 5 day, you're looking at nearly 50 million. 285.4 million so far globally. You're not doing too bad. At a time when no other film has been able to perform this way. Yeah,
I bet it'll do well today too, because there's a lot of, considering besides the normal fact that half of the country is probably laid off, but I mean, there are some people are on vacation today. So,
well, how is it doing for HBO Max too? Is a question that I've been
I
wondering.
heard actually the numbers are better than the Snyder Cut. So,
how many subscriptions?
But again, it's supposed to be before anyone.
It is, yes, it's
supposed to be. I mean, something would seriously be wrong if it wasn't. Like, people have to stop with they're doing better or worse than the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was a $100 million investment in total for them. It was never meant to go to theaters. This is a wide release theatrical movie, which we now see probably would have been $1 billion movie. In no universe was the Snyder Cut supposed to beat it. The Snyder Cut wasn't supposed to be the biggest draw of the year for HBO Max. Anyone who thinks that need to get that out of their heads, because that wasn't the case.
I will say this is the first thing that I've seen and actually experienced and seen other people experience HBO Max crashing when they try to watch it.
Yeah, I had some problems. For the first part, it would skip a little bit.
I had a few times, and I've checked with other people, and I've even looked it up. It's been happening.
My first viewing, I had some buffering. That was real close to the release, though. And then the second view through, so I could, speak intelligently about it. I didn't have any issues. Of course, that was a few days later, but it's amazing.
First night, it quit on me midway through, and I couldn't get it to play for 5 minutes. And then that's when I checked, and I seen other people were having issues too. And then I gave it a few minutes, and then it was fine for the rest of the movie. But then I tried to watch it again twice since then, and both times I've tried to watch it. It wouldn't play, and then I did get it to play the one time, but it was all digitized, so I'm like, fuck this, no. And I checked my internet to make sure it wasn't my internet. My internet was fine, so it was. I had
problem. I know when I watched the Snyder Cut, it wasn't coming through in 4K, because I watched that the day it came out too.
Well, it all depends on what you have for a system, because most things can't handle 4K for HBO Max.
That was what I was pissed about. PS5, and I have fiber optic cable. And
that doesn't matter. It's the app. It's only set up for Amazon Fire Stick and a couple other things in 4K, which is bullshit. That's why I was bitching about the other day. It's I'm paying full price for HBO Max. I should be able to get through 4K on my Xbox. This is bullshit. Yeah, you can go look on their HBO Max website. There's only 4 things that handle 4K right now, and 3 of those don't do Dolby Atmos. So you're very limited on your options.
How are they fucking?
I mean, that's why you stick with your physical media. You don't have the problem there. Physical media is going to play super reliant with every single technical thing that you could that you want to need there every single time. That's the beauty with physical media. You're not reliant on what they put up there, your connection, or anything else.
Well, and HBO Max does obviously have a wonky infrastructure already still. They haven't got all the bugs worked out, but they've been out there long enough now. I cannot believe they have not updated the app better for most systems. It's just getting ridiculous. Especially now
they're all so badly.
I don't understand this. I don't either, because they're AT&T, for fuck's sake.
But they've had this. They're not new to this, because they've had HBO Max, or not HBO Max, but
HBO Go and HBO Now.
Yeah, they've had that for the longest time. How do you not have this figured out by now? That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't understand how they snafu'd this one so bad. Because I agree, because people have oh, there's nothing on it. I'm what are you talking about? There's plenty on there. You just have to know how to get to it. That's
the layout is terrible too.
It is.
It's horrible.
Now
you're right. There's a ton of stuff on there. You have all the HBO programming too.
Well, not just that. Yeah, Cartoon Network, the DC stuff that they do shift around a little bit, but there's always plenty. They have all the other channels split up too. So like, yeah, you have to go around to find everything, which is kind of a pain in the ass. And then, like I said, your quality is going to differ depending on what you're watching it on. And even then, it's still meh. There's times where I've had issues with it, and there's nothing really going on, like the Snyder Cut or anything like that. It should be working just fine, but it's still a pain in the butt sometimes. So they really need to get on that, and quickly, because they're going to lose this race, and it's going to be mostly because of that. Because otherwise, they could be kicking ass right now.
Yeah, because I would imagine that they must have caught up significantly. I would imagine that they must be like the one with the fastest net growth right now, because they are the ones with like the big programming.
Exactly. And like they got Mortal Kombat coming next month. They got a couple of
and I can't wait for that one.
Like I said, the Conjuring one, and then they've got other bigger movies like Dune and stuff that are still on the horizon.
I heard they lost the right to. Is that still going on HBO Max?
It is, yes. But I wouldn't be surprised if they move that up.
Do they have to wait? Because I think we were talking about it on Saturday night. Tug was saying that they had to wait 2 weeks to put it on HBO Max.
Unless something new happened that I'm not aware of. No, that could be, though, if they worked something out with Legendary. Maybe.
It could be that it has like a theatrical window of 2 weeks or something. That honestly would not surprise me. I could see that.
He's big into that Dune stuff, so
it could be that's something that happened that I didn't know about.
I could well see that happening.
And Villeneuve was one of those who could make that happen, possibly.
Yeah, it would not surprise me in the slightest if it were to be like a 2-week theatrical window, because that movie was next to Godzilla versus Kong, but even more so, that one was supposed to be Legendary's bread and butter for this whole year. And they would fight for that movie tooth and nail any way possible. So yeah.
What's sad is Godzilla and Kong was the more sure thing in the end, really.
Yeah, well, in the end it was, but you don't know that in advance.
No, I know.
No, but Netflix kind of must have thought that, because they were trying to buy Godzilla versus Kong from Legendary for $250 million.
Well, they also have that Netflix show coming up, and they have the Godzilla cartoons as well. So I know that's another reason, possibly why.
Yeah, maybe. But like I said,
they already have a relationship. But
yeah, they must have realized this was going to be pretty good. So
if I remember right, sorry, the Kong series I think is through Legendary, actually.
Yeah, probably. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, it is. I honestly would not be surprised if Netflix really wanted to try to buy it, and if they had, what a hit would that not have been for them if they had gotten it.
Yeah, it would have been one of the few times we actually had transparency into what Netflix did, because the only time they really tout what's going on is when they have something that gives them a surge.
Yeah. And I'm kind of surprised they haven't tried getting their hands on like Ghostbusters or something yet either from Sony.
Give it time.
But I think now after this weekend, I think that's kind of like maybe the next kind of point we can get on before we get to the other stuff. But I wanted to ask Yellow Flash how much longer you had.
A couple more minutes.
All right. Was there any super chats that are directed at Yellow Flash?
Well, let us take a quick look and see if anything is directed to Yellow Flash. We shall see.
We need some music for when you're looking at super chat.
Yeah, I know. Nope, I cannot see that there is anything specifically to Yellow Flash here. So then we can go on from where we were. Which is Silver Nova, who said for $10, great work for hitting the 200K mark. Well, thank you. Just want to say thanks for the podcasts and cheers to all in the chat. I have to work early, so I will see you all soon. Have a great show. Well, thank you. And there you have it. Silver Nova says hi to everyone. And House Atreides says, Tom, Kong could not have defeated Mechagodzilla if Godzilla had not powered Kong's axe. Mechagodzilla was winning up until that point.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Monkey can still use axe. That's all that matters.
Yeah, ignoring facts. And Troy Pacelli says, if Superman now stands for tolerance, then what does he do? No, I'm not going to stop that bad guy. We need to be tolerant.
He's the wrong color, right?
Yeah. Well, of course, we're going to get a new Superman pretty soon, courtesy of J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
How excited are you for that, Yellow Flash, while we still have you here? And how about if I were to tell you that what we have heard...
That was one of the last times we had you on, I think.
Yeah, I know that's okay because the intention from Warner's point of view, we have heard through Mikey Sutton and others, not just him, is that what Warner wants to do, like they want to get rid of the Snyderverse completely, but still they want to make this incredible multiverse where J.J. Abrams get his own little corner to play in with his Superman from the writer Tanishi, whom you're such a big fan of. And this then, through multiverse hopping, is going to be the new mainline Superman, the one who's going to be in the multiversal Justice League going forward for any sequels. How excited are you for that?
Oh, I'm excited to laugh at its failure for content, that for sure, but not excited to see them destroy the character. What kind of MacGuffin is he going to hunt for them to need to go through the multiverse?
It's called the mystery box.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to find out that the courtesy of the Southeast Asian John Constantine.
They have something so good.
Another J.J. Abrams reimagining.
It's going to be a disaster. Well, I mean, they're doing it on all levels. Did you see that they had? They're literally calling it. So I'm not like this is what DC's calling it, but they want to make a queer Justice League, a comic book where everybody in it that's on the team is LGBTQ, and they want to call it Queer Justice League.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, and like America's following suit. I'm sure you must have seen the images of the new Captain America. Have you not?
Yeah,
this is the one.
I like that they made his shield a trash can.
Yeah, exactly. This is the one that I affectionately choose to call Captain Commie, where the A stands for Antifa.
It's almost like they help us write the review. It's like his shield is aptly a trash can, which is pretty much what this story is. A bunch of trash. Look, I'm just so sick and tired of this shit. We do not need the LGBTQLJL whatever. Fuck. Because when everybody's that, then nobody is, right? Like it's just who cares? Who cares? If that's what's so special about it. Who cares?
I love that he only protects marginalized people.
Yeah.
So, hold on a second, big robber. Gonna talk to that victim. Are you gay? He says no. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue on, sir.
Take his wallet.
Continue beating him to death. He's straight, so doesn't matter.
Oh wait, he looks Asian. Oh no, you're not. Never mind.
Probably jumps in and helps him beat up the evil cis white male.
Oh, you're not Southeast Asian. Well, then you're not the right Asian.
Oh, yeah, good times in comics, absolutely. And moving on from there, then next we have Cesario JPN, who says for $10, thank you so much, has Midnight's Edge seen the controversy online of including the characters from A Clockwork Orange in the crowds in the Space Jam 2 trailer? Pepe Le Pew is not kosher, but canonically written rapists are okay. This is news to me.
And murderers. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
Because basically, I have no interest in Space Jam 2 whatsoever. Like seriously, I cannot express in words how little I care about it. So I haven't seen any trailers, no nothing. So that you have people like that in the background, but not
You see
Pepe Le Pew.
player Ready Player One, right?
I saw the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically the same shit.
Okay.
Yeah, they got all the Warner properties in there.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm not interested in it. I'm tired of these movies. Just leave it alone. I hope it fails. I hate LeBron James too. I think he's such a scumbag. So I'm just not interested.
Well, the first one was one of those things that should have never. It gives my famous. It was better than it ever had the right to be in the first place. When you have something like that, you don't attempt to make a sequel, right? Like just leave it the fuck alone. Like they even kind of knew that when they did Looney Tunes Back in Action, they had to do something a little different. Even though that started as a sequel to Space Jam, it still wound up as something different. Even though that didn't really succeed at the box office or anything like that, it's still the point being you can't capture lightning in a bottle like that again. It was a once in a lifetime deal. You don't have nearly the same kind of talent behind the scenes. It should have never happened. And these characters are not even the same characters we fell in love with originally. They've been slowly deconstructing them in many different forms. I'm even surprised Yosemite Sam has his guns.
Yeah. They want to get rid of those.
Me.
Didn't they take those away in the cartoon?
They did from Elmer Fudd, I think, and I thought they did from Yosemite as well, but
yeah, it was so stupid.
Because Elmer Fudd has too much white male wage.
Well, he's Texan and he's probably a Republican. That's pretty bad, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Plus, he's got red hair, right? So he's going to get canceled like 4 times over.
Yeah, he needs to be recast.
Yeah.
I say it's time to make America great again. I said.
At least they brought. I love the Speedy Gonzalez story. How they canceled him. All the white people got upset, and then, every Spanish person is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's like the 5th time they've tried canceling.
We love him.
And Fluffy's like, "Don't cancel me, man. I just did the voice on this thing." So yeah, it was like crazy.
Actually, that's actually the one thing I look forward to is Speedy Gonzalez. If someone wants to make a Speedy Gonzalez fan edit, just cutting out his scenes, I'll be up for that. But like the rest of the movie, I think I'm quite happy to give a pass on.
Well, it should be called Cosplay the Movie because you get a bunch of famous characters not played by the original actors, is what you're getting. And yeah, I'm sorry, Ram Bam. I was mixing two together. Sorry about that. Fuck. No, I saw the trailer for this. We broke it down on Mead, and yeah, we saw the guys from Clockwork Orange. There's all kinds of other Warner Brothers characters in there, but you know what? Who cares? I didn't like Ready Player One for that kind of a reason. It's like if you're gonna throw this stuff in there, make it in there for a reason. Well,
wouldn't you say that that's more like them trying to pull off a Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of a thing by dropping other stuff in the background? Because isn't that? That was like one of the most
more so Lego Movie.
You think so? All right.
Yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was one thing. At least all the characters that were there had a reason to be there. Lego Movie drew that line as far as you could go with just throwing random shit. Just in there, and at least some of the characters having some kind of basis for being there, like Batman and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like at least you gave them a character arc or a point for being there. Like that barely makes the line there. And then after that, you had like the Ready Player One. And even Wreck-It Ralph, the first film was good, but the second film, and the same thing with the second Lego Movie, all suffered from that same thing. Is just keep throwing shit in there that people know references. You know what I mean? It's like with no reason for him to be there, then the joke is not even. It's pointless. At least in the first Wreck-It Ralph and the first Lego Movie, like I said, whenever these characters would pop up, they would at least have a joke or a gimmick or something that would. For them to be there, like when Ralph was to be there. Yeah, I love that bit where he's in the beginning. He's at that AA meeting for video game villains. Like that was hilarious. That at least had a point. like why you would have all those video game villains there. But if you're just going to throw them in the background for no good reason, just so we go, oh, I know that thing. That's like Ready Player One, which is just, member berries the movie.
Yeah, good going. And before you go, Yellow Flash, I do believe that Ram Bam 3000 would like your thoughts on this. Given this conversation, I now wonder what the founding fathers would make of Superman. That is one that I shall stay out of and let you guys deal with.
Of the country?
Well, I would imagine so. The only founding fathers I know of are the ones of America, but yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't like what's going on, period.
Yeah.
A lot more than Superman there.
I think they would have enjoyed what originally Superman stood for, but what he come along with everything else. Oh, hell no. Benjamin Franklin would probably have a few choice words about the whole thing.
Well, and of course Jefferson and a few others that were really, there would be some words. They would be eloquently spoken.
It would be like all about as baseball as American Pie and all that kind of stuff is tarnished.
Yeah, exactly. Well, baseball's no longer American Pie either. So.
No.
What, a baseball is not American? This is news to me.
Everything's woke.
From my point of view, a baseball is as American a sport as anything can get.
Oh, that's why I can point to basketball right now. They're down like 35% because, and it's specifically because of all of the woke shit that they're putting into it. Like it's turning off a huge portion of the audience.
Yeah, and at times, you're right, Yellow Flash. At times, it's almost 50% of lost viewership year over year, and now we're seeing a decline even over the previous year in sports because now we have a direct comparison to the global crisis that is involved. So as we move forward from here, those numbers, if they continue to drop, it's going to show just how much the country's disengaged from everything that's slathered with this poison, this venom that is, the woke stuff. So, and, this is 100% right, Rory Mitchell. Baseball is bigger in Japan, Cuba, and other countries. Absolutely. In fact, that's the path to greatness is to come to America from one of those countries. So, you'll be a hero, national hero where you come from. But when you get to the United States, that's where a lot of these folks are headed for, or where they would have hoped to head for. But now, because of what's happening with the All-Star game and everything associated with the concept that you have to prove who you are, to do certain things in life, that's it's more important to not have to do that than it is to do that, which means baseball is going to move the All-Star game, to another location.
That's going to be a shit show.
It is. It already is. I mean, the problem is it's going to backlash. You have 100 corporations lining up against Georgia. This isn't a political thing, but I'll just say this: it's going to get worse, and because baseball and other American sports are part of our culture, our pop culture, watching those numbers dwindle is turning into a sport in and of itself. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. And with that, moving on, Organic Vista says, I bought IMAX tickets for yesterday knowing I couldn't go, just to support theaters opening again. Had to work. I'm a nurse. Good thing you went working. So thanks for your effort for everyone.
Wow, that's something. You should have gave the tickets to somebody just as I don't know. That's really cool though.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gerald Armstrong says for $9.99, you didn't see Kong versus Godzilla for the story. Unrelated, why does the YouTube algorithm always recommend anti-fandom menace channel Lore Reloaded? It's getting annoying. I don't know, does it always do that? And who the hell is Lore Reloaded? It's not someone I'm familiar with, I have to admit, but I guess it's something with your with your particular search history, I cannot claim that I've ever seen them show up in mine.
Yeah, no, it's probably somebody with, a couple hundred subscribers, even that. It's punching up.
He's I've heard of him before, but I'm not so sure. I've never really seen much of his videos or anything like that to really comment.
Again, this is the first time I ever hear of.
It's probably just
slightly less
somebody
than
punching up for
100K.
subs and views. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about how anything works with that. Can't claim to be familiar with them. So yeah, don't know. But I have never seen them before show up in mine. So I think it might be. I don't think it's across the board. But yeah. But yeah, who knows how the algorithm works with recommendations and stuff. And then we have Dash Des, who says for $5 Canadian. Thank you so much. I'm true Canadian fashion. Please use North America in your tolerance facts. We've been putting up with the USA for 150 odd years to LOL. Yeah, okay, fine. North America is incredibly tolerant. I'll take it back. It's not just the US, it's all of North America, which is incredibly tolerant. And to travel beyond those borders, you're going to see plenty tolerance in Europe too, but it's going to be different many places. Grishnak70 says, congrats on 200K, guys. Been a fan since the Fant 4-stick debacle. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, and thanks for being with us for this long. We really appreciate that. And then Commandant VHS says, I'd love have see Kong versus Godzilla Polt to be streamlined. Don't quite understand what that means.
Cut? Maybe to be streamlined?
God versus Godzilla, Polt to be streamlined. It says POLT, to be streamlined.
I don't know. No idea.
But yeah, sure. I'd love to see the Polt be streamlined too. I guess. But thank you for the support in any event. And Parrothead says Boomer Casino.
Yeah, I started my 6-minute daily muted this morning. So for the first minute and a half, there was a lot of me gesticulating wildly with no sound. It was fantastic.
So the 4.5-minute daily.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay, and the people figured out the first one. Roddy Mitchell and John Williams, they both figured out the plot. They wanted the plot of Godzilla to be streamed.
Well, yeah, and that can be easily done
mainly
by getting rid of the Millie Bobby Brown character and their whole plot. You can get rid of that right away.
Yeah. None of it was needed. That's the thing that's blowing my mind. No. We didn't need the guy doing the investigation behind the scenes. We didn't need anybody associated with Millie Bobby Brown at all, including the kid that was superfluous and was merely just a punching bag. So,
what was the runtime on the movie?
2 hours, just under.
If you'd have cut that out, you'd have cut it down by about 30 minutes.
Probably close to
which actually would have probably made it a much better movie.
It would have. Yeah. Because that's the stupid thing is they don't figure out what the fuck is going on until Mechagodzilla gets out anyway. So like it's kind of pointless.
But they kind of existed to show you the backdrop of Mechagodzilla.
Sort of, kind of. But you get enough of that with the scientist guy and the guy who's supposed to be the kid of Ken Watanabe's character, I believe. And then all you had to do was, like I said, have Skarsgård's character like realize like from the daughter, like that's what they're doing is trying to get power for that. That's all you needed. Like you didn't really need all this extraneous bullshit with Millie, and the whole thing with her like the kid dumping the alcohol in the fire. That was all stupid too. It was just like
96-minute runtime would have given this film more shows in theaters, and it would have made it possibly could have earned it more money in the abbreviated window.
Or like I said, you could use the first half hour or whatever to give us the backstory of what the fuck was going on with Kong and the little girl and all that kind of shit a little bit more. instead of just telling us. They could have showed it. Like the storm and him finding the little girl and all that kind of stuff, and then building, and then I would have understood more what the fuck was going on, because that was where I was confused. I'm like, are they still on Skull Island, or is it a new facility? Where are they at?
I think it was a facility on Skull Island.
I think you're right.
Island. But again, there's a movie missing there, and I'd be very happy to see that movie.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But anyway, Yellow Flash. I didn't want to keep you any longer than we had to. How much more time you got here?
Yeah, I'm probably going to jump off.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate having you, and hope to have you back on Thursday as well for our celebration, even if it's just for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll pop on for a little bit.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to plug before you head out?
Just follow me over Yellow Flash and Yellow Flash 2. Yeah,
check out Yellow Flash and Yellow Flash 2 for all his latest videos. Of course, also follow on Twitter and all that good stuff as well, of course. All right. So thank you for being here today, and we appreciate it, man. But we're going to keep going, so don't everybody leave, even though Yellow Flash has to take off for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
For sure.
Good meeting you, sir.
Take care.
Yeah, good talking to you. Peace.
All right. So what else we got for Super Chats before we move on?
Yes, what else we have for Super Chats? We have Clark Terryfan, who says, the American way still symbolizes freedom, Andre. Just look at the Hong Kong protesters waving American flags and singing the anthem. Yeah, that's my point exactly, which is why Superman should still say truth, justice, and the American way. Dashdes says, gee, Tom, do a conflab with Drinker and fix movies.
I would love to. I mean, honestly, I always wanted to be a script doctor. Just never became a thing. Thank you for that.
And the SSB candidates says for $50 Mexican, Rob, Tom, you need to see all of Evangelion to understand some stuff in Shin Godzilla. But right now, I am angry with Hideaki Anno for what he did to Rei. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with the fact that he created Evangelion, but I've no intention of watching it. But still, I really, really enjoy Shin Godzilla, even if I may miss a detail or two in there. What I don't miss, though, is all of the Fukushima parallels, and that is what is my draw to that movie, at any rate. I don't know about you, Tom. Do you feel that you have missed out a lot of in Shin Godzilla because you're not familiar with Evangelion?
Maybe, but I don't think so. I mean, I never knew there was any kind of connection, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard of it before, but I've never really thought about it or knew there was any kind of connection behind the scenes or inside of.
Yeah. Culture, is that something you're familiar with?
Yeah, I mostly, again, I'm most of the time when it comes to anime, I've only caught it like just occasionally in the background when someone else, in the household might have been looking at it or whatnot. So a lot of the anime stuff that I appreciate is older stuff. Like, I have a few, but that one I've seen a few episodes of. I'm not certain that it would have improved my enjoyment either way, if that's the question. So.
Yeah. And then moving on from there, Diego Flores says, what Culture just mentioned is basically the plot line of the animated King Kong of 2001. Also remember, guys, in Latin America, my generation, that is the majority, doesn't know about King Kong, only Godzilla. So yeah, Godzilla certainly does have his audience. So actually, yeah, I think that you have kind of have like a division in the audience there. Some parts of the world, Godzilla is going to be more famous than Kong, whereas in other places, it's going to be the reverse. And if that is the true, if they lose Godzilla and they continue cinematic universe with just King Kong, that's probably not going to be as big without Godzilla, especially if people know that Godzilla won't show up again in it. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, it might do okay because I don't know how many people really realize that Kong Skull Island had anything to do with Godzilla until this movie. So, I mean, as far as the general audience.
Yeah. And then Panzerkrog says for $10, in Superman Returns, Perry White says, truth, justice, all that stuff. Even then, they were trying to take America out of him. This crap goes back before the blue hair Twitter maniacs.
To a point.
Yeah, that was 2006. Yeah.
That one, I'm not sure. I mean, we could maybe ask Robert about this because he might know. But I would think that might had more to do with trying to make it more universal for other countries, not just America.
I would imagine so. I don't think that there was like anything insidious about that beyond like, we don't want to be like too gung-ho pro-America here because this movie is going to be released a whole planet. I think that probably was the reasoning without there being anything more to it.
And the reason I say that is because even at that time, like more famously, movies like from Pixar and things like that, since they were animated, could very easily interchange things. So like the American version, like for instance, like there was that one scene where Buzz Lightyear's giving a speech, and of course in the American version he's got an American flag behind him, but if it's the Norwegian version, I'm imagining he has the Norwegian flag, and if it's Italy, it has the Italian flag, and so on.
Tell me that one more time. Where was this?
In Toy Story 2, I think it is, and they actually show this in the special features. Like, there's this big speech that Buzz Lightyear's giving, and then behind the TV is like the old sign-off thing. And in the American version, it's the American flag waving behind him, but they showed like in the Italian version, it's the Italy flag, and so on down the line. Like whatever country it was released in, they actually inserted that flag. So it was like,
this is news to me.
Yeah, I would imagine they would have done the same thing to like Norway and wherever else. But yeah,
maybe, I don't know.
Probably even on YouTube.
I honestly don't know.
But that was one thing I know Pixar was very regional about. There was a lot of times they would, if there was anything that was like regional that they could change, or they would change that would be more appealing to that area instead.
Huh. Okay, now this is completely.
But then a lot of that has changed more recently when you have movies getting released all at the same time at once and stuff.
Yeah. No. I know. I looked it up in the meantime. It wasn't nationalized so that every country had like its flag. What happened?
It was just an Earth. That's
in the U.S. version. He had the American flag behind him, whereas in the international version, there was a globe behind him.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so that's what it was. It wasn't like nationalized to each and every single country having their flag.
I knew it was something like that, but it'd been like 20 years to see the making of. So
no. In principle, you are right. In principle, you are right. And then, in reference to Star Trek Picard's Blu-ray sales, Polaris Sucks says, was it Blu-ray sales or DVD sales? Or total?
It's both.
Okay, it's total.
They just mix them because, like, because DVD sales account for, I think, 60 or 75%. Yeah, roughly that of the still. Yeah. And then Blu-rays like another portion, and then 4Ks like.
So we're talking like around less than 20,000 Blu-ray sales then.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mostly DVD, I'd imagine.
In any event, Polaris Sucks says 50,000 too many. Rest in peace, good Trek. Quark is a god. Oh, it's certainly funny. And Adam Wofford says for $10, thank you so much. Shortly after Shin Godzilla came, the director didn't want to make a Shin Godzilla 2 because he didn't want to make a zombie-like movie. At the time, there was too many of those. Yeah, because that would have started out with like the little humanoid Godzillas running around eating and infecting people and everything, which like spread from there. So probably a good call, but it would have been interesting though, wouldn't it? And then the SSB candidate says for another 50 Mexican dollars, some of us disliked the Kathleen Kennedy style ending. Hideaki Hideaki Anno gave to Evangelion, and keeps mistreating the Rei Ayanami character. Oh, I'll have to take your word for it. Not familiar with Evangelion, but if he messed it up, and especially if he mistreated Rei, then that really sucks, doesn't it? It's like, note for anyone in fiction: don't be called Rei. Nothing good comes from it.
Unless you're Ray Stance, anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, I shouldn't say that before seeing Ghostbusters 3, but yeah.
Yeah, like those could be like words to regret, but yeah.
Yeah.
Admiral Awesome says for £5 British, will they ever release The Mandalorian on Blu-ray? What do you think, Tom?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that undermines the whole point of their streaming service and their quote unquote original content. I think you're going to see all of these streaming services try to protect that. They've spent an awful lot of money on it. It's the one place you can get it. It's not shared with any other service. Unless they run into a money problem where they actually feel like they could gain additional sales from people who will never subscribe to their service, then that doesn't make a lot of business sense.
Yeah, the better chance you'll have is a foreign release, because there is a lot of countries still that are.
I don't know. But Disney Plus accelerated their market penetration internationally, just kind of to combat some of that. That's why they've grown so quickly to such a large number. It's also why they're going to hover around 100 million. So, but you're not wrong. I mean, that they could do that in limited releases, but
The only way I see it is after the show's done, and maybe after it's been out for a while.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that, but no time soon.
No, I doubt it. And even then, I mean, we're at now. Here's the thing: is we are at death's door when it comes to physical media. Robert Meyer Burnett was talking a little bit about this yesterday, and I think I'm going to be on Let's Get Physical or whatever the show's called next week, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But yeah, I mean, now that Warner Archive is shut down, Warner's pretty much slowed down their production on movies, and Disney has almost called it quits. Like I said earlier, that's it. I mean, it's a boutique thing now, guys. It's done. I mean, Walmart doesn't really carry them anymore that much. Best Buy doesn't really carry them anymore. There's no video stores left. You'd have an easier time going to your local library and finding a movie than you probably would anywhere else in most towns. That's where we're at. I mean, it's sad, but I mean, more of the better releases are from overseas anymore.
Yeah, we're not saying it's a good thing, but that's just how it is. Case in point, the Snyder Cut, that's getting released in Europe and Australia. I don't know about Asia. It's not getting released in America, is it?
It might be. There's been rumors that it will be, but they're going to wait a little bit probably. Here's the thing: is the Snyder Cut would kind of undermine HBO Max.
Which is why they wait 1 month, because it's only available on Snyder.
No, I think Snyder Cut's going to be there forever.
Okay. Oh,
because remember, the 30-day window thing only has to do with the theatrical.
Oh, yeah, this is true. Yeah.
So like all those other movies, like Wonder Woman 84 will come back to HBO Max. It's just gone now because it's past that 30-day window or whatever, the 31-day window or whatever it is. And then same thing with Godzilla. It'll leave here at the end of this month, but then it'll probably come back around in 6-7 months again after it's run its video run. Like new movies will still come to video for a while. It's just... the classics are done, guys. Few and far between, and don't expect any kind of special editions really anymore unless you're buying from like Shout Factory or Arrow or somebody like that, Criterion. That's it. Those are the only companies that are going to keep a lot of this shit alive. I mean, they're getting a lot of great titles right now, but that's not for good reason. It's because a lot of these companies are using them to amortize the cost of their 4K remasters and stuff. We're at the end of the line here, and I hate this. I do, because I am a very big advocate of physical media. So
yeah, so am I. So it's unfortunate. Oh, and I was just checking. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is coming on physical 4K disc
Yes,
here.
it is. Yeah.
Nice.
I think Kino Lorber is doing it here. I don't know if they're doing it over there, but yeah.
No, we don't have Kino Lorber. So here it is.
Whatever the equivalent is over there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see who it is here. It's pre-order released. No, actually, it is Kino Lorber. It's import. It's import of the Kino Lorber one. So it is Kino Lorber.
Yeah, because I think MGM owns that, and I don't think MGM's released shit for 4K titles. I had to import Bill and Ted, and it doesn't even have HDR on it. It's just flat 4K. Like, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't even have bothered. Really, though, speaking of, Duck Nation says no HDR for Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Well, that's bullshit. What is it with MGM and that? Like, they're very hit and miss.
Oh, so they botched it.
They
released it in 4K and they still botched it.
Well, I don't know. It's something to do with MGM. They don't like to do, for some reason, the same thing with the RoboCop 4K I got in digital. It doesn't have any HDR on it at all. It's just flat 4K. All their movies are all flat 4K. They don't have any HDR, which kind of is half the point.
Yeah, that kind of undermines the point completely, because it's not the increased resolution, it's the increased richness of color.
That and the light and the darks, yeah.
Yeah, that is included in it, but yeah. But anyway, moving on, because the next super chat is also related. Joe Pat 87 says, TBH, as physical media gets phased out, so many streamers will still get swept away in an overcrowded market. One simply cannot afford them all. Yeah, this is so true, and that is why competition is so fierce, because it's kind of a winner-takes-it-all game, and you only have room for like 2-3 winners, and everyone who isn't that will be fighting for like the bottom scrap. And then Fear Sundown sent us 2 super chats of $2 each in a row with no message. But here came one later. Fear Sundown says for another $5. Did you guys ever read Abrams' awful flyby treatment? You think he'll include some dumb blood plot like Khan had in Into Darkness? I'm going to give this one to you first, Cultured. Have you read that treatment? And if so, do you think there's going to be any magical blood in this new Black Superman?
I have not read the treatment. I've been told about some things. I
can give you a brief summary.
Yeah,
it's Matrix fighting. There's magic blood. Right. And Lex Luthor is a Kryptonian. This is incidentally where the Matrix fighting comes in.
I hope not. God, that's it. I don't even know how to react to that. That's everything that I had heard was related to all the other problems that we've been talking about for weeks. This is new. Good gracious.
Well, Tom, let's hear from you first then. Do you think there's going to be magic blood and any leftovers from Superman Flyby in there?
No. Because this is written by Ta-Nehisi Coates or whatever, so I highly doubt they're going to bring it. And I think, JJ's only like just producing, right? I don't think he's directing or anything.
So far, he is just producing. It remains to be seen if he will also be directing. That we do not know at this time. It's produced by him, and if he feels like it, if he decides that, hey, you know what, I really want to direct a Superman movie, then he's going to end up directing. But he doesn't have to direct it in order to get like the merchandising thing and have it stamped as like J.J. Abrams Superman. And if it's like a complete disaster, it might even be advantages of him to...
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, like, and if it's a complete disaster, it might even be advantages of him to, like, have like some level of distance to it by not having directed it. If he does and it tanks, then what excuse does he have?
Going off of him and his normal career trajectory is to copy Spielberg. His next move would be to produce a bunch of shit that he doesn't direct. And if he doesn't have full control over the DC universe, that's where I see the extent of his being involved there, is just kind of producing a few movies so they can just slap, from J.J. Abrams on it.
Yeah, I just look. We already know what's going to come out of the film. I mean, again, everything we've heard and all of the politics of the writer, it almost doesn't matter who directs the film. But I think you're probably right. I think that JJ is just going to want his name as the EP, or
exactly. And to gain woke points, it'll not only have a black director and black star, it'll have a black director.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree with that. I don't think it's going to be anything of Superman Flyby.
No.
I think it's going to be complete and total current year. And I also don't think that JJ will be directing it. I agree with you guys. He's just going to be producing it, and you're probably going to have a black director for extra woke points. Because here's like the thing that if he goes as woke as as they're kind of like promising, then he suddenly is in a position where he can't direct it, because then he's too white for the story.
Yep. And if it's got Michael B. Jordan in it, and with Michael B. Jordan directing Creed 3, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not even considered to direct and star.
Yeah, he could pull a Sly Stallone right there, right? He exactly. Would be. Yeah, I mean that would be the same path.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I haven't even heard if Sly is going to be in Creed 3 yet.
I like the Creed films.
I do,
and I think he's exceptional as an actor. It wouldn't surprise me that he could act and direct in the film. The problem is going to be the story, and I mean that's where all these things are coming from. It's these writers that are writing it, that they don't understand the characters. And we you know what, I'm just going to repeat everything we've been saying for the last several years. So.
And not only do the writers not understand the characters, what's worse is that the studio, and this is something that we learned, is that the producers, they don't understand, and what is more, they don't even want to understand, because this is kind of like the point that what they want to skip what Snyder is doing and instead go in like a new diverse direction where the movies are kind of a little bit inspired by the comic books, but not too much, because they want to twist and turn them a little bit and make them real current year, so that the producers can just judge them completely on their own merits without having to bother to be familiar with the source material and stuff. This is what Warner Media wants us to be so excited about, believe it or not. But it really is. Yeah. So yeah. Great plans for that going forward.
Wonder This World 97 says I would not be surprised if Sly isn't in Creed 3. I have a feeling Michael B. Jordan will want the focus solely on Creed. I think you're right to a point. And then Read by Nature, I agree with this too. Creed 2 was good. Loved the Drago storyline, and so did Andre and I. And that's the thing, is I heard a rumor that he's talking about another Rocky film. But I gotta imagine it ain't gonna be Rocky fighting. I think Andre and I might be onto something with the whole idea of Rocky and Drago combining efforts to retrain Drago's son as a boxer in Russia or something like that. And that's possibly like, if that's how Creed 3 is, and they're like, oh yeah, Rocky's in Russia, and then the next film is that, then I'm all on board.
Yeah, because this is the same thing that I said after Creed 2. I don't need any more Creed movies, and I don't need any more Rocky movies. What I want is the Drago spin-off.
Yeah,
because that's much more interesting. I mean, like Ivan Drago is the single most tragic character in the entire Rocky saga. That's the movie that I want to see. His story, his trying to get back up again, and after like his son almost died in the ring, and him like throwing in the towel there. What happens after that? Like, that's the story I want to see. Him coming back in disgrace again.
Well, I think they need to kind of go down the same road as Cobra Kai, which Creed, in and of itself kind of inspired Cobra Kai in a lot of ways. And that's where I think that's the best route to go, because like you just said, we've got, Drago's son who was trained like Drago was. And now Drago knows that's wrong. And so who else can he turn to but Rocky to kind of retrain his son? Because his son's obviously a great athlete.
Oh, incredible. I mean, even the actor, did you see that guy, like the way he was working out? It's unbelievable stuff.
So I could see that as a great movie to kind of reintroduce, like, the character to the, like it just be about, those two retraining his son and all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool. And hey, Paulie.
Hey, are we excited?
We're excited for a movie that's not coming. Yeah, very. We're excited for the movie that we want to see, but not the one we're getting, probably.
We don't know yet, but yeah.
No, I mean, are we excited that The Mandalorian won Best Stunts over Cobra Kai for
No, I'm not, but
SAG Awards?
No,
did it also win Best Ensemble Cast? That was the funnier
insane.
story. Didn't you see that?
Yeah, I can't believe.
Who's going to accept?
What ensemble cast?
Oh, yeah, that's a doozy. I forgot to tell you about that, Andre.
Yeah, what ensemble cast? They're not even an ensemble.
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, ensemble means it's the same actors in every episode.
Well, yeah, so the closest you would have would be Carl Weathers, Gina Carano, and Pedro, and the baby. So,
I mean, it's basically it's basically Gorgu and the Mando that are in every episode. But Cobra Kai, that's an ensemble.
Yes, it is.
That's an ensemble.
It really is. And the best one of them all.
I just think it's funny because of the whole situation more so.
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah. Well,
what stunts were in season 2? Did I miss those?
There was the fish lady in her spa. That was like major stunt work.
I will say that the fighting in Cobra Kai season 3 is probably the weakest of the series so far, though.
Yeah. The finale was kind of whack. Maybe if it was for season 2 though. I think this is for whatever the last bit might be. I don't know. You could be right. You'd have to look it up to know for sure. But yeah. Point is,
no one out of spite. I don't know about that. That almost goes against their narrative. That's the thing.
Right, because it's about the actors, which is Gina.
Which I gotta imagine she's not in the cool circles anymore. So
no, it doesn't matter. She gets an award. She is a SAG.
No, I know.
Winner.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's funny that she won. Like
we should tweet that. We should hashtag that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can find the deal to hashtag it with, go for it, however you want to do it. But
anyway,
I thought that was funny. But moving on with super chats, Andre.
Yes, moving on. Then we have Storm King, who says Kong threw down the axe because the little girl told him Godzilla was a friend, not because he submitted. Kong bows to no one. You guys are awesome. Oh, thank you. And you see, Tom, someone agrees with you.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. I wish I had retweeted it, but I didn't, I don't think. But there was this thing this morning that said, we need subtitles for this movie. And it had the little girl going, Godzilla friend or whatever. And he's like, no, fuck him.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. We actually do need that.
And then the other one was the two of them yelling at each other, and it was like, fuck you, no, fuck you.
That would have been fantastic. We really need that. And then the Festman 93 says Kong versus Congo versus Mega Congo for the next movie. Maybe Kong can relocate to Congo. That would be something. And then Sean McMullen says, Tom, saw your cat on Friday Night Tights. What's his name?
Well, either you already know and you're asking to be ironic, or if you don't, when he's good, his name's Kitty. But when he's being an asshole, his name's Asshole, which is most of the time. So, yeah, his name is Asshole. So.
Yeah, so either or. Nice name right there. Nice naming convention.
Well, nothing ever really stuck, but then he was just always a little asshole, so that just kind of became his name.
Yeah. And Adam Wofford says, in the Ray was a clone of the main character's mom, and his dad was a psycho, and Shiny is a terrible character. He has a lot of dad issues. Yeah, I guess that is so. And Robert says for $5, can you talk about the lack of any discussion of the collateral damage done and ignored in the film as well? I know it's dumb fun movie, but still. Or you mean how they killed half the population of Hong Kong? Because it was Hong Kong in that city, wasn't it? I think it was Hong Kong.
Yeah, that went very poorly for Hong Kong. There's no doubt about it. But that's just one of the things that is largely ignored in most of the kaiju films.
Yeah, and here's but not only that. Like, this is Hong Kong, and
Chinese.
China probably doesn't mind too much, and because of that, many others don't mind as well. So yeah. But yeah,
honestly, I gotta watch it again, but I think there was a throwaway line where they said something about Tokyo being mostly evacuated or some shit.
Yeah, but this was I'm pretty sure this was Hong Kong.
I thought it was Tokyo, but okay.
I'm still waiting from
it's Hong Kong, and then they were also saying that in the film, you're not wrong that they'd call for an evacuation when they realized Godzilla was on the way. So, but that doesn't mean there wouldn't have been a loss of life in that because goodness, you're talking about several square miles of
pretty substantial one too. So yeah. But yeah, no, that's like a hot, touchy subject right there. But there are some protected places, and Hong Kong isn't among them. On the contrary, that's kind of don't talk about it too much, kind of like Crimea. And then the Mad Leprechaun says for $5, I'll say it, the first fight in Kong versus or Godzilla versus Kong was rigged, due to Kong having a lot of drugs pumped into his body through his neck. Yeah, and also him being chained and on water. Let's not let's not forget about that. So hardly.
Well, they took out that scene, Andre, where he.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Off the side of the boat.
Yeah, right.
And
it's a fun movie.
Roger, yeah, it was okay. And then Roger,
I know
H
you didn't
says,
like it. That's not your thing.
No,
I know it's not your thing.
It's not my thing. It was all right. I didn't dislike it. It's not my thing. But I liked it more than I did the first Godzilla movie. I think I have to watch them again, and then again, not really, because I have other stuff I need to see instead. But anyway, Roger H says, how about a Clubber Lang spin-off?
I've mentioned that before.
What's your prediction for the fight, Tom?
Pain. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Well, that's the prediction.
Great line.
Prediction. Pain.
And then House Atreides says, my cable provider has a new movie package that gives me HBO Max and Disney Plus for an extra $2 a month. Just how much are the streaming services making? Oh, well, if they have a ton of subscribers, we're talking 150, 200 million, they're making a ton of money. But they have to have numbers like that. Before then, they're a pure loss. Anything you guys can add to that?
Well, I wouldn't say a pure loss, but yeah, like that's the magical number we got told was 200 to 250 million. And that's so they have a $10 billion operating cost. So that means they're making as much as they are now, plus having the operating costs. So right now, I mean, I always said, like, you look at it this way, HBO Max charges $14.99 a month. If you basically watch the new big movie of the month, to them, that's like you going out and buying the Blu-ray or DVD, which most people don't right now. So that's like a guaranteed sale that you normally wouldn't give them. And the other stuff is just a bonus for you as a consumer, I guess. But no, they make a lot more money than you'd think. All the cost is basically in the production costs, and then the rest of it is just in the data farms and all that shit, and the servers.
Which is also considerable because they need quite the data.
It can be, yes, but a lot of them now, believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, when you're watching one of these services, it's coming from Amazon. Believe it or not. That's where a lot of these companies have just signed over a lot of their shit to Amazon.
Well, and actually, even HBO Max uses AWS to stream their product from.
Yeah. So basically, Amazon's the one farming all this shit for them.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Dash Des says for $5 did you see the cartoon where Superman tells Darkseid he can let loose on him and not fear hurting him? Your thoughts on the angle under his control? I have never seen that cartoon.
No, I haven't either. No.
I take it no one else has, but speaking of seen, because we have seen something else today, haven't we? More specifically, a new trailer from the next thing to come out of Disney Plus after The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, namely the new trailer for Loki. Before we get into that, gentlemen, have you seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier yet?
Nope.
Yes.
Oh. Nope.
Paulie, how was Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
The latest episode, I actually liked it.
Yeah, cool. So you would recommend it? Because I haven't seen it yet. Honestly, I lost so much interest and desire to see any more after the dreadful WandaVision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first 2 episodes were kind of whatever. I think this one kind of kicked it along into high gear. It was actually a little longer. It actually felt like a movie. It felt like there was a little bit of a cliffhanger ending, but there was a lot going on, and it was kind of like it really picked up as far as like the 5-year blip that happened, and kind of going into what happened in the underworld aspect of it. And is it right if I do a little spoiler? I mean,
I don't mind.
Okay, so what was the Hydra guys? He was in
Baron Zemo.
I
think. Yeah.
Oh, he was. Oh, they brought him back.
Yeah.
And just that alone was worth watching it, and it was a lot of action. Couple little funny moments, where they're fighting, and Sam's life is on the line, and his sister calls him, wanting to, find out, family matters. He's like, we can't take care of this right now, So I actually enjoyed it, and it was a lot of kicking ass, which I liked.
So it actually moved the story forward then a little bit.
Like I said, it's like you don't need to watch the first 2 episodes almost, This by far was like the best.
So the 2 first episodes are filler. Oh yeah, good going there.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like bad filler, those first 2 episodes. The one woke moment episode. Well, listen, I what are you going to do with your entertainment? I mean, I'm not. My default standard is not to totally throw something out because there's a second of woke. I'm sorry, guys. You know,
that's quite
no,
all
not
right.
to you.
I'm not saying
I'm not to you.
I'm
just
not
to,
saying
you
that
know.
it's woke. I'm saying
No,
that I
to
lost interest because the first one was so bad.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes were really badly written, crappy writing. I absolutely agree. The bringing back the first black super soldier was a great idea. Again, bad writing. And then boom, this one was like, okay, they kind of like, you know, remembered who these characters were and what the greater storyline was. It was fantastic compared to the first 2. It was fantastic, and compared to anything in WandaVision, I watched episode 3 in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And
And I didn't mean you. You know, I'm just saying. I know some people are like in the chat, like they're instantly turned off to any entertainment if it has a shred of wokeness, and I'm just like, well, you know, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna and if it's crap, it's crap. But if it's great and has some woke moments, whatever.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Yeah, and that's fair. Opinions are allowed to
So,
matter.
Yeah,
But,
Polly, aren't
I'm
there?
not going to talk to you about that culture.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it with you here on Midnight's Edge. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there's a long story there that we're evidently not going to get into.
I'm not into it, evidently.
But yeah,
culture knows how to push my buttons. That's all. And we're brothers. I'm just like.
All right. Okay. Well, that escalated. Well, but what we were going to say, though, is that we now have another thing coming, namely the Loki series. And earlier today, the first trailer for that was released. Have you had the chance to see that yet? Culture? Polly? If you haven't, now is the time to bow out and check it out.
I'm sorry, I have not.
Well, then now is the time to bow out and check it out.
Okay.
Culture, have you seen it?
I have not seen the new Loki trailer. I haven't seen it
then
since.
Then the exact same thing goes for you. Okay. In the meantime, Tom, you have seen the new Loki trailer.
I'm not as excited for the show as I was.
Well, that's a huge success for the showrunners right there. Whereas for me, I actually have a little bit of the opposite reaction to you then, because my thought, like, we're going to assume that you all have seen the trailer now. But my thought was like, yes, finally, at last. Now we actually get into some multi-universe stuff after being teased and given a false bill of goods and everything like that for first in Spider-Man Homecoming and then in WandaVision, and that really, really hurt me what they did with Quicksilver there, when you're like teasing this one multi-dimensional glory and it's just a freaking neighbor. But now finally we are getting into some general multiverse level stuff, so that has me excited. What has me less excited is like this whole Owen Wilson's character and how he entered the picture. What did you think about that, Tom?
I mean, there was the I don't like what they're fucking I didn't like it, dude. I don't like the whole idea of this like shield for the time, like time.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I mean. I don't really like this character or whatever he's from. Like, what kind of agency is this?
It's like shield up for time. It's like they're time cops or some shit.
Yeah, and where the hell did these time cops came from? Are they like pan-dimensional beings that he just sees looking like Owen Wilson, or what? Or is it some future thing, whatever? Like that thing right there, that has me instantly worried.
Yeah. I mean, some of the other stuff looked interesting. I mean, I'm not so sure about turning Loki into. I mean, they kind of doing the whole like Suicide Squad thing with him, like making him like be a hero for whatever reason. kind of like blackmailing him into it or whatever, and then something about it just don't feel right. I mean, there's things in it that looked interesting, and I definitely am kind of like would like to see, but there's just so many other parts of it. I'm just like, wow, this is not what I was expecting it to be, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, clearly he's talking to like Black Widow in that one part, and she's inside the stone probably, I think, and that's what that yellow glowing thing is that they're looking at. But I don't know. Loki's time cops break the Marvel universe. Where have they been this entire time? They would, yeah, it wasn't Thanos, but yeah, that's the thing is I don't understand I mean, pending actually seeing the show and getting an explanation at this point, I'm not so sure about it.
Yeah. I will say I'm looking much forward to this than much other because of Tom Hiddleston. And Tom Hiddleston, as always, is freaking awesome. And I've come to be a big fan of his portrayal of Loki. So I'm excited, if nothing else, than for that. So that has me excited just to see him return to the role. And also the multiverse thing to me is quite exciting. But then like this whole time police thing, yeah, I want to see how they pull that off before I make any final judgment on that. But I will say, yeah, carry on.
No, what were you going to say?
Yeah, but I will say that of all the Marvel TV series that are like produced and waiting to be released, this is still the one I am the most excited for.
Did you also see the Black Widow trailer or no?
No, I did not. I honestly, I couldn't even be bothered to see it. I can go check that out.
It's one of the better trailers we've gotten so far. But no, I was just gonna say, let's hear what Culture and Paulie thought of it because it sounds like they're a little bit more excited about it than I was, anyway.
Yeah, and while you check that out, I'm gonna bow out and check out the Black Widow trailer.
There you go. Yeah, I really have to say this. I enjoyed the trailer. I thought this is a much clearer picture of what we're going to see in the show. It was very much, just action scenes in the previous trailer, and it looks very, very good, in my opinion. I'm not sure that the time cop aspect of it, because I think that's kind of a weird way to go with this, but because that introduces a whole new slate of problems with what happened with all of the previous Avengers films. But I mean, they're always breaking down the universe and always have. So I'm not sure where this entity has been, during the course of this universe. But this is kind of cool, and I do like Hiddleston in this role. I also really do enjoy Owen Wilson. So I mean, if he's got a significant role in this, and he's doing a battle of wits with Loki the entire time, I think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know that I'll be jumping into it right away, but I'm considering it.
I really think I can pull off Battle of the Wits with Loki. Wow, that's great. That's really great.
Yeah, that was a distraction, but Hiddleston's just, you can't stop watching him. I can't, he's got so much charisma. He's so present with that character that it's like watching a great actor at work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kind of, you just hope the writing and the stories are just as creative, and and hopefully Hiddleston actually took some, I don't know, is he an executive producer on this? Is he invested in this, or he's just showing up for the acting?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I like Hiddleston.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the whole time cop thing's out of place.
Yeah.
Not so sure about Owen Wilson here. I like him as an actor, but this just seems a little off for him. But I have to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looked cool. I mean, it's it could be worse, right?
Now, did you guys watch the Black Widow trailer?
Oh yeah,
I have not. I saw the old one, like when it's supposed to come out 2 years ago. So do I need to go see it again?
This is a bit different one.
Okay,
I would go ahead and check it out.
I'll be back.
yeah. I think it fleshes things out a bit more, but it also introduces the same problems that the previous one did, in my opinion. And I'm not. It's not changing my mind about whether or not to see the film. I think it's interesting that they're now having to address the fan theory about Taskmaster being a female, and I think some of the shots are going to change that for no one. I mean, they're going to look at those shots and go, yeah, they could be covering up the fact that this new version of Taskmaster is a female, or there could be a female version of Taskmaster, and there's two Taskmasters, which is another part of the thing that's going around. But like I said, I mean, does it look good? Yes. Would I have been interested in this film 5 years ago? Absolutely. But the new trailer didn't change anything for me.
Andre, you just came fresh off it. What did you think?
I liked it, and I agree that I would have been super hyped for it 5 years ago, whereas now I kind of like feel like it's a movie that came out 5 years ago and I missed then and is not so relevant now, and I don't not like in any rush to see it. I kind of feel that way. So yeah. But I look more forward to that than many other things. Of course, I look much more forward to Mortal Kombat. But yeah, I'll watch me a Black Widow. And I look forward to Taskmaster. It's gonna be fun to see what they do with that.
Still upset about Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Ain't right.
They were bringing Chun-Li into this as well, Tom?
No, well, they should.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, everything's better. Like Rob says, I mean, is there karate in it?
6 eyes save lives. So that's all I'm gonna say. No, I mean, this is probably the best of the Black Widow trailers. I have a feeling she's not going to be dead by the end. I have a feeling this is their story of bringing her back. So I feel like where everybody's going, well, I just don't understand why they're doing it now, kind of thing. That's the only reason to do it now. Otherwise, then why do it? Because otherwise, there'd be no reason to do it in any other way than just a series like all these other things. So, yeah, do I think it's going to be good? I don't know. But this last trailer, I'm a little bit more on board with than the other ones I've seen. This does look like I can see now a little bit more where they were coming from, where this was going to be a little bit more of an adult-oriented Marvel Universe film. And it's also going to be one of the $30 movies, as we talked about as well, Andre, if you didn't notice that at the end.
Yeah, I kind of guessed that that probably was going to be like one of those like premiere access kind of like things.
It doesn't. What's really odd to me is they don't see the fact that model isn't going to gain them any affection with an audience. So I just, it's not really worked out well for them, despite their statements. And I'm looking at it like, if this goes into theaters and it's a good film, it's going to perform by the very first day. We're going to know everything about this film and the direction that it went. And, unlike, the Godzilla versus Kong movie, you may have an audience that's quite hesitant to go out and see this or invest $30 in it on day one.
Well, I think this is going to be the first time they're going to have a real true test.
Yeah,
if the $30 thing is even going to work. Because, I mean, even though this is probably still one of the worst movies they could test it with, it's the first one they're going to have a real test with, because nobody even knew what Soul was, and they were more than willing to wait to see. Nobody wanted to see Mulan. So, again, here's the first time you have something that actually has some possible appeal to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because the projections were down and had been going down steadily even before we entered the global crisis that we've been dealing with for a year. Those projections for Milan had been going down steadily. I mean, we were watching it in real time going, wow, this film is going to be bad. So I don't know. You're probably right. It's probably the first real test for day and date for Disney, but I just don't see it doing gangbusters. But
No.
that's just my opinion.
What did you think of the trailer, Paulie?
Kicked ass. Looks great. And it's got a connection to the Avengers, so for the normie audience, they're gonna flock. They're gonna watch it. Yeah, looks exciting. It's a great cast. I love the family. I love Rachel Weisz, David, and Florence Pugh is a really good actor. I forgot that she was the sister, quote unquote. So yeah, man, it looks good. A good time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think that the movie's gonna be entertaining, but it's just a shame that it didn't come out like at least three or 4 years ago, which is when it needed to come out.
I'd say you're right. I'm just thinking that the way they're marketing it already, like it's another extended Avengers movie, and people are hungry for anything Avengers. They're gonna go. But I think I do agree.
Yeah.
It could be the next Captain Marvel. Who knows?
Well, you just just consider this. A year ago, March, they were projecting this film to open to 115 million, and would finish domestically at 300 million.
That's a pretty small finish for such a big opening there.
That's those are not great numbers, not at all.
And it's.
Do you think it would do better now this time around? Culture in July coming up.
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, the problem is that I'm still of the belief, and I'm in this again. This is just observationally that this will underperform because it's too late. This is a story that should have been told years ago. I'm going to keep saying it. That's the recurring theme of this film is if you really wanted to capitalize on Black Widow, you would have done so 5-6 years ago, and 6 years ago now, I guess technically, but it's a real shame that it took this long to get here. And I mean, Florence Pugh might make a good replacement for Black Widow in the future, but I just I mean, if that's the whole goal of this, then it could have been more easily accomplished. So
yeah, you never know.
Yeah, but speaking of trailers and reactions to it, we have like some numbers for last week's The Suicide Squad trailer, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, evidently it broke records for the worldwide views on a trailer, I guess, with 150
for a Red
views.
Band trailer, to be
for a
sure,
Red Band trailer,
where it actually beat out the previous number one, which was Mortal Kombat. So this one was able then to outpace the Mortal Kombat trailer reviews. And now, knowing that, and having had a few days to digest the trailer, has anyone changed their perception of the Suicide Squad movie and how excited one is for that?
Damn, I'll be right back. Damn it.
It looks better to me. The new trailer looked much better than the first one. I kind of considered it like a release, the Red Band trailer release of this, to be like a distraction from what was going on with the balance of DC at the time. The timing of it, was supposed to generate a different kind of buzz for a different direction. Except some of these characters feed right in from the Snyderverse side of things. But I don't know. There are characters in this that, again, you're working with third and fourth tier characters. I'm just not as fired up. The original Suicide Squad, as bad as it was, will probably still end up having a better box office than this film. That's just my opinion. Records notwithstanding.
Part of that is going to be probably because of the situation we're still going to possibly be in when it gets released. But I did see the second trailer as well, and I did like the second trailer better than the first trailer. Although they're very similar. But again, this is one that I really hope that they're holding back some of the good shit, because unlike the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, which was probably one of the better representations for a trailer to movie ratio, like, you know how we always get a really good trailer for shit movies? Like, and then once in a while we just get, generally get what we expect out of them. But like, it seemed like to me one of the best examples of what we got out of the movie was the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy.
I remember when that trailer came out and people like could compare the movie to the trailer. They were like those honest trailers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really, the only thing they could do with the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer was just play the official trailer, because that was the honest trailer right there.
Pretty much. And then Deadpool's the only other one I can think of where it really kind of, but that was in a different way, because that was actually like completely new footage that Ryan Reynolds would do for the trailers. But like, those are the only two times I can really think of where they were really representative. And so I'm hoping that this is just, they're kind of showing us the action and the set pieces and the characters, and we'll get more of the jokes and the James Gunn humor in the actual film itself. Because James Gunn's, I love most of his films, but he's also really got like this thing with the end of his films sometimes going this wacky direction. Because and the one I could think of specifically is Super. Have you guys seen that one?
Yes.
I love the first 2/3 of that movie, but then that movie goes into a completely different place, that third act. And the ending just feels like a totally different movie. So I'm hoping that's not what we're getting here.
Yeah, that's well, here's the thing. I honestly, who the heck can say, really? I would imagine that they probably have left a lot of good stuff out of the trailer. I don't think that this is a case of like the Suicide or the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, even though that also was a James Gunn movie. That's the only connection. James Gunn did not cut that trailer, and he did not cut this trailer. I imagine that you probably had more skilled people that were working on the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer than were working on this trailer. And I also think that they actually did a strategic error in releasing the R-rated trailer first. If anything, they should have put out the regular all audiences trailer first, and then a couple of days later dropped the Red Band trailer.
Well, because
I think they did a mistake in doing it that way. It's my opinion.
My assumption is the second trailer that I sent you that we just saw, that's very similar to the Red Band, but it's got a few other things that are different in it, and it's obviously not the R-rated trailer. I think that's the one that's attached to Kong in theaters, probably. That's why.
Yeah, probably.
I'd imagine.
But that was the better trailer.
Let me know, but yeah.
That absolutely was the better trailer. I think it would have been better to put that out there first.
Maybe,
just my opinion, but I really think so.
Well, that or I hope the next trailer really highlights more of the humor. Because this, like I said, I can totally understand if you're trying to highlight we're going R-rated, hardcore action, introduce the characters kind of thing in the first trailer and the 0.0 trailer or whatever you want to call it, since they're very similar anyway. So if like the next trailer shows a little bit more of the character humor and stuff like that and interaction, and it actually gels, then I'm with it. Because what I'm seeing so far, I'm not seeing the chemistry between the characters that I saw in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, and I think that's probably more of a trailer issue than it is an actual story issue, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I want to believe that's the case. Paulie, you just came fresh off it, though. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm just getting caught up on the cast list.
Everybody's in it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at over who.
It's the only one who's not in it.
Well, okay. Well, my first thing is with Harley Quinn. Is it me, or I just love her, but I didn't see that Harley Quinn movie. I just love the way she does Harley Quinn. I don't know.
Then don't see that.
No, I heard. That's why I'm like not seeing it. I kind of like how she does Harley Quinn.
Yeah, her joke in the trailer is the best joke that I saw in the trailer, in my opinion, anyway.
Oh yeah, the personal license plate.
No. Where she's like, well, that one I didn't like. The one where she's like, oh, if you that's so sweet. You guys came to save me. I can go back inside if you want.
Yeah, that was great. That was good. And Joel Kinnaman, I love Joel Kinnaman. Yeah, it looks all right. You know, Michael Rooker, shit. I like anything.
Can't go wrong with the Rook.
I know anything he does. Idris, I'm curious. I'm just looking at the rest of the cast, but you know, it looked all right. You know, a trailer can look amazing, and of course we know we go to it, and it's The Last Jedi. So what are you gonna do?
Well,
exactly.
I mean, I guess just to kind of to get people to understand where I'm coming from, I don't expect this movie to be nothing but a comedy, but you got a situation where this is the first R-rated James Gunn movie we've had in a while. I mean, other than did he make that Brightburn one, or who made that one?
He produced it.
He produced it, but he didn't direct it, right? Yeah.
No,
so
he produced it.
This will be like his first R-rated movie in a while. So like, I really thought if anything, he can go balls to the wall with the humor and, you know, that kind of shit. And they even have, you know, from the twisted mind of James Gunn in the beginning of the trailer. But, you know, I mean, again, the bullshit he pulled on Twitter aside with the Gina Carano situation, I hope this movie is good. I hope it is both funny and full of all the R-rated goodness that we've seen in the trailer so far. And I like Andre. I'm looking most forward to seeing what Sly does with King Shark. So.
Yeah, that's he looks so amazing.
Yeah, he sounded great. You're right.
Yeah, it looks great. He looks like funny. I like get happy just looking at him.
Any other questions? And
yeah.
So I look forward to that. Just for King Shark. I'm looking forward to it. And the movie's like it's warming up on me because I was so let down by the trailer, the red band one. Like it really didn't do it for me. But looking back at it, seeing it now together with the other one, I'm looking more and more forward to the movie. I absolutely am.
I'm with some people on King Shark not looking the greatest here, but I mean, I have a feeling when we're said and done with this, like we're all going to be like, now we want a King Shark movie, and we ain't going to care about the rest of the game.
I just hope that he makes it through because you see, he gets beat a shit ton in this movie. Like you see, he's like bloodied and battered and everything, and you see like he gets shot in even the PG-13 trailer. So yeah, he's gonna have a rough time. I hope that he's gonna make it to the other end somewhat intact.
Well, I did notice also too that they're in a Latin American island or some shit like that. They have this great character actor. You saw him for a second. He was kind of like the leader of the troops. He was like an older face gentleman in the trailer. He was like, you know, looked like part of the. Oh, there you Joaquin Cosio, General Mateo Suarez. He's great. He's an amazing character actor. He's in Narcos Mexico. He's hilarious too. So
yeah,
you know that would be really cool if they get to use his, not only because he looks menacing, but he's fucking funny too. So yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people in this movie. Shit.
Yeah, it is. So I certainly look forward to it. More and more, I am looking forward to it, and especially King Shark. And I wasn't familiar with King Shark to begin with. I remember the first time I even heard about the character was when he showed up in the Flash TV series, because then like clips of him were like all over the internet, so I caught that. And I kind of like saw like, I don't know, maybe a proto King Shark or something in like that series creature, which was based on the book by Peter Benchley from 1998, which was also fun. You have like a proto King Shark there, but I just love the way he looks. I like it just cheers me up looking at him.
I mean, he looked okay in the Flash series, but once he moved, it was kind of meh. Like the animation was pretty. I can see what James is going here for a little bit more, though, but I can totally understand those who do not like the look of him.
What's that?
Yeah, like a
comedy
Thunder
guy's
Duck
name?
says, King Shark on Flash was way better. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Maybe I'm not familiar with the character.
If we're going by the design, maybe, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
What was the Davison? Is that the comic guy? He's in it.
Oh, Bruce Davidson,
Pete Davidson,
or Pete Davidson, or whatever. Yeah,
Blackguard. I saw.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, when I saw him, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, because what was the thing with him again? Because I remember I saw him and I remembered this guy, he did something to screw up and he got canceled or something like that, but I don't remember what it was.
He did a lot of things. One thing he did was he made fun of a Republican congressman from Texas who was a vet and who's lost an eye, great representative. I happen to like him a lot, Crenshaw. And he did this like real bad, in bad taste, whatever, trying to be funny. But then there was like a cancel of there was a, what do you call it? Like a
I remember now, but it was okay. He was like forgiven back because Crenshaw's Republicans was fine.
Well, no, they brought Crenshaw on the show, and Davison did this kind of, they did like a funny apology skit. Yeah. So that was that. And then I think later on Davison kind of like took back the apology. Some bullshit, but he's also known for dating all kinds of people.
He's like a real weirdo from what I've
heard. He's just annoying. Yeah, he hasn't been canceled. Yeah. Dan Crenshaw, I think that's the politician's name.
Yeah, no, I just remember that he did
shit too. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
I remember him from doing like something stupid, so I just remember
everything.
Like his reputation precedes him.
Honestly, he's annoying. He's in that annoyingest piss cast of Saturday Night Live. Yeah.
And then he did a movie this year, right? King of Brooklyn or some bullshit like
King
that.
of Staten Island, I believe it was.
Did anyone see that?
No, but I've heard it got like really good reviews, but that don't mean shit.
Well, yeah, they're trying to build him up for a nomination or whatever. It's like I think
it was more so who directed it. I'm trying to remember now.
Well, I'm already here, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's got a famous writer or director or whatever.
Oh, and he is from Staten Island. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just not my brand of comedy, personality, but nothing personal. But Judd Apatow.
That's right. Yeah,
there you go.
Oh yeah, Judd Apatow,
written and directed.
Like that guy. He was the one who pioneered labeling anyone labeling like fans not happy with what the creator is doing as Trump supporters. He was the pioneer. The absolute first one who did that was Judd Apatow. He did it in conjunction with Ghostbusters 2016, which was when much of this thing came to a head, where he basically said something along the lines of, if you are not massively in favor of Paul Feig's Ghostbusters, well, then you must be a Trump supporter. Those weren't the exact words, but it was something along those lines. That was like the general sentiment, that anyone who's not in favor of this is a Trump supporter.
Yeah, and then he casts his family a lot in his own movies.
But he was the one who did Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, he's done some great stuff at first.
Yeah, he's done some really cool stuff. He absolutely has.
But lately, I mean, wasn't he a part of 40-Year-Old Virgin? I mean,
yeah, I think he was involved in that in some capacity as well.
He's done some cool shit. It's just he's kind of like like Howard Stern. They kind of just got sanitized by Hollywood. And they're not like their edgy older selves.
Yeah. And Tom, before we move on completely, I do believe you said something about the new trailer being out.
Is he back? I think he had to. Oh, he is back.
That a new Mortal Kombat trailer came out just an hour ago. Liu Kang versus Cabal.
I think he's watching it.
Maybe. I think we all need to be watching that before long. So we'll wait until he comes back. Yeah.
Oh, he did Larry Sanders.
Also, it's not a real trailer. It's more like a character. Is it worth watching? Or is it just like an unnecessary spoiler?
But it's kind of long. It's like a couple minutes long.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm sure we can wait with that then.
Yeah, if it was a new trailer, I'd say let's all take a second.
Yeah. But we have a couple of super chats to go through since the last time. So let us do that before we move on. Taker610 wonders, have you guys watched or covered Chaos Walking, the Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland movie? Looks kinda bad and kinda flew under the radar for me the most part. I have not covered it on the main channel.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. They put it out. This was the movie that was said to be so bad that they couldn't release it or something, right? And then they spent lots of money to fix it.
I have not seen it. It is available now.
So they dumped it straight to streaming for fanfare.
Yeah. I've heard it's pretty bad.
Yeah. No, I have not seen it or even... All I heard was that it was a complete and total disaster. For that reason, I was looking into doing a video about it, but then something more urgent came up. And I forgot all about it until you reminded me right now. So yeah, maybe we'll have a look at it and see if there's something there, if there's some kind of story. But probably it isn't. Probably it was just good intentions, and it just fell flat, I guess. So bad that they dumped it with no fanfare. And then Bearded All Bear says the Superman versus Darkseid battle was in Justice League Unlimited. Do a search for World of Cardboard Speech. Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind and check that out for later.
I only saw a few episodes of Justice League Unlimited.
I saw exactly 0 episodes of Justice League Unlimited. Is that part of the Timverse?
I believe so.
Okay, well that's cool in that case.
Of all the other one, it was if memory serves me correctly.
And then Diego Flores says, Tom, in the comics there is a storyline of Loki and the Time Cops. Is there now? Okay.
That's great. Well, but Owen Wilson, I just don't... If it was Luke, maybe?
I'll reserve judgment until I see it.
Yeah, I have to see it. But
yeah,
to me, when I hear I see Time Cops, all I can think of is, where's Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah, exactly. And then Kareen Henry says, Falcon Winter Soldier is good. Check it out, guys. Well, I'm sure I'll do that eventually. Adam Wofford says, so Chun-Li isn't in Mortal Kombat, but she might be a hidden character in Black Widow 2, and also Chun-Li will fight Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman 2077. You know what they have to do for the next Mortal Kombat game? They have Terminator show up and Rambo show up and RoboCop and all the good stuff like that, right? Next Mortal Kombat game, just before this, they have to license Chun-Li. How awesome would that be? So then you could really have Chun-Li in Mortal Kombat. That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. But it's funny is because isn't the Street Fighters and that Capcom, and don't they do the Marvel games? And then that's whole other thing is because Mortal Kombat they did the Mortal Kombat versus DC game. I know.
Yeah, they did.
Because they're both Warner. Yeah.
There's many barriers to cross right there.
Which is funny because I think I have an extra copy of the movie Mortal Kombat because my game of that I think came with the movie for some reason, which is weird. But I didn't complain. But it was just I already got it. But okay.
Yeah. And then Tiberius Monk says, "Hail! Congratulations on 200k subs." Oh, thank you. Also, highly recommend Tom Hiddleston's The Night Manager. Wonderful miniseries I enjoyed. Hail Midnighters. Well, hail all. And yes, actually, I have seen The Night Manager. It's very good. It is with this, I forget her name now. The woman who was in Tenet, who was also the Golden Woman in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. She's in that series as well. It's a pretty good one. So, yeah, do check out The Night Manager. Good crime series.
In other news, Marcos A says Sylvester Stallone confirms Rocky Balboa will not be in Creed 3, and that's kind of what I was hearing too. So if that's the case, there you go. And I also heard AMC stock went up this weekend because of Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because it shows that there's hope for theaters and for AMC yet.
Yeah, that'd be the only thing I wouldn't be sad to see go is the chain theaters. But no, that's what I've been trying to tell people is I don't think theaters are. I wouldn't count them out yet.
Yeah. And Jack Hudson says for $10, the Loki trailer is good. Still not buying Disney Plus though. I just wish Marvel would make a kick-ass villain movie without all the wokeness. I would have been hyped for a Thanos solo movie. You know what? So would I, because some of Marvel's best comics the past 30 years have been the Thanos solo comics because they're magnificent. Especially if they're written by Jim Starlin, who created the character. And then Dash Attack says for $10, revealing Starro in the trailer was a mistake. That would have been a fun surprise. Warwolf says the only way Disney could get me to spend $30 on a film on Disney Plus is if they finally give us a good Ghost Rider movie. Yeah, well, then I guess that you'll be holding on to those $30 for a long time to come. So, yeah. And then Gaijin Grimpora says for $10, I saw Godzilla vs. Kong this weekend. By the end, I was absolutely screaming. I could not be more happy with the outcome. They avoided the Batman v Superman problem. I am so happy that you were pleased by the movie, Gaijin. Very, very happy that you liked it. That's the most important thing. That the people that have been wanting this and looking forward to this for years, if the movie is able to perform somewhat near studio expectations and please the fans, well, then that movie has done its job. So, yeah, happy to see that appears to be the case. Justin Fountain says, hey, gents, love the show. I'm with Paulie in terms that it take a lot of wokeness to kill my enjoyment of any movie or show. Looking forward to Loki. And Cedric Taylor 08 wonders, Top Gun 2 when? Well, that's not up to us. Tom, do you have any updated figures on when that's going to be here?
Last I knew, and then Paramount Plus will be having any theatrical movies 45 days after they're in theaters. So there you go.
Yeah. And then House Atreides says, hey guys, do you remember the Clone Master from 1978? A TV movie that wanted to become a series, but was not to be. The movie was good, but not as a series. I have never heard of the Clone Master. Have you guys?
No, I mean, I've heard of plenty of. There's plenty of shows that they do that. That's a backdoor pilot, but no, I'm not familiar with. Well, that's a little before my time too, so that's why.
Beastmaster.
Yeah, I remember Beastmaster.
Yeah, there's a ton of TV movies that wanted to become series, but that never made it. So that would just be one of many. But I'm not familiar with it at all. Culture, you familiar with the Clone Master?
No, honestly, I don't remember that. I would have been 8 years old when it came out.
I bet you Rob might, but yeah, he's not here today. So Robert Meyer Burnett for sure would probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Clone Master, are you kidding? I saw that 17 times when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, he's amazing in that way.
Bootleg VHS.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, did I see it? 78. I mean, I was definitely seeing movies at 8.
He would
8
tell
years
us
old.
the cast and who directed it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Clone Master.
TV show.
At that time, it was all about $6 Million Man and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman back then was awesome.
Isn't that right around the same time
Man.
Hulk would have premiered too?
Yeah, I would have thought
And
the
the
Incredible
Hulk.
Hulk, because that was 1978 too, as far as I'm aware.
I think
Bionic
so.
Woman, was that a thing yet?
A little later, but yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe by this time.
Charlie's Angels.
Oh yeah.
Battle of the Network Stars.
It's good old days.
Yep. Got
Yeah.
to see all those hot chicks running around doing bad sports.
And they got paid for just being hot.
I mean,
Oh, ain't that something? And then we have, let's see, I do believe, yes, here. Warwolf says, since Taskmaster has a daughter in the comics with his same power set, it's possible both have the mantle in the Black Widow film. You know what? I haven't been following any kind of discussion on the Taskmaster, on whether or not like he's a man or a woman. I only got that like recently, but I wouldn't be surprised if you have like a mantle to be carried there. You kind of like see that implied a little bit even within the Black Widow family, that the father was like some superhero hotshot before his daughter, and now the mantle is about to be taken over by the other daughter. So actually that would mirror the hero story very well, and that's always something that they like to do in Marvel movies, is have the hero and the villain to be mirrors of each other. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they went a direction like that. Is this something you know any more about, guys? Culture?
No, because I only recently heard this theory, this thought that this was something that happened, and I've gone looking for video evidence. I watched the trailers, in 1/4 speed and all of that, trying to determine, if it's not going to be OT. I forget his last name, Gannibal or Ganbly or something like that. The person that I believe they were trying to have at this point, who has actually hinted at being Taskmaster. But everything that I've heard, Taskmaster's killed at the end of the film or towards the very end of the film. So I don't know.
Thanks for spoiling that.
Oh, did I spoil it? I heard. No, that's just what I heard. It doesn't mean it happened.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You're probably right. That's usually the way, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, lately anyway.
Cuddles.
Oh, I'm terrible. Gosh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I'm like,
well, it's only a potential spoiler because
right.
we don't know if it's true.
That's true. Look at Polly. You know what? You already told me to be quiet earlier. Now you're giving me the side eye. I don't know.
No, you know what? Let me apologize for that right now. That was BS of me. No. It's not my show. It's not my show.
You can't hurt my feelings. You can't hurt my feelings.
But I'm apologizing because that's not your feeling. That's my behavior, and it's not even my show. So I'm sorry, brother.
Look, all I know is Culture's lucky that I zoned out. Okay,
I know Tom would have come after me.
I have no idea what the hell he even said at this point.
We're good.
Or did, yeah. But
are we winning?
That's our whatever call sign that we picked up and kept going. Anyway.
Whatever, like you're
whatever. Oh my god!
Like flashing the gang signs. Wonder what it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. No, we don't. Yeah, it looks like kind of a weird hashtag, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if
E, and then we would do the Espanol.
Okay, I'll learn these. I'm not hip on all these.
Bitsy Spider.
Yeah, that's what it was. Here goes the show.
Love you, Cuddles.
I'm so lost. Was there any super chats before that one, Andre?
No, we are actually fully caught up. We are
Well,
fully
amazing.
caught up today. So, yeah.
There is one bit of news, though, that we can, Yellow Flash was right. I guess they're still in negotiations on the whole Dune deal, according to the playlist here.
Oh, there you go.
Just bring that up real quick. Dune Studio reportedly hasn't decided whether the film will still go to HBO Max and theaters day and date.
No, because like the thing with like pushing the movie, I think that was the real movie, or sorry, the real purpose behind pushing the movie all the way back to October. Not only can they then hope that theaters are going to be like back again, it's going to give them time to hash out some kind of a deal that they evidently still do not have. I mean, like those things, they don't happen overnight. Those kind of deals, they really don't. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I would imagine that it's probably going to be a couple of weeks theatrical by then. I mean, Legendary, with this opening weekend for Godzilla vs. Kong, they're going to have a pretty strong case, won't they?
I think they will, and that's going to be the tough part for AT&T to argue, because even even they had to have seen some kind of revenue from this. So it's
well, this is weird because of the timing of this. Because prior to the weekend, MacLeod, the previous actor to play the primary role, he came out and said it would be a shame if this film didn't release on theatrically, if it went straight to streaming or released simultaneously with streaming. He actually went on the record with that. So it's a weird timing.
Indeed. But yeah, I'm sure we'll have more to say about this in the coming shows.
We will. Yeah,
you probably even have a video at some point about something with that.
Oh yeah, we're way overdue for a Dune video, so I'm sure we'll have something. And then, in the meantime, we got another super chat.
You did.
The Mad Leprechaun said, "If ever there was a case to be made for physical media's relevance, it would be the news about Sony shutting down the PlayStation 3 Vita stores."
Well, I think part of that's just because PS3 is outdated. I'm not sure what the Vita part of it has to do with anything.
Well, the ability to download and transfer information back and forth between your handheld and your your PlayStation. Yeah, I mean it's bad. I mean, it's a bad look, but you know what? It's outdated tech. I mean, we're going back how many years now with the PS3?
Well, here's like the PlayStation 3 came in 2006. I know because I got it very, very early on because it was the single best media player all the way up until the Kodi. It was the single best media player there was. And only when the Kodi came was it kind of like outdone by that.
Yeah,
but then, of course, you had the PlayStation 4 that came in, what was it? Because now we're like in PlayStation 5 territory, and the PlayStation 4 came in, 2014 or something? 13, 14?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think you're right. The cycle is like every 8 to 10 years they replace the consols, but
not even.
I don't know.
So less than that, like every 5 to 8.
7 now, but yeah.
Yeah, between 7 would be between that 5 to 8.
Yeah,
but no, actually, they took a bigger break between, I believe, what was it, PS3 and 4, because that was almost.
Well, the PS3 was such a big hit. I still have my PS3. By the way,
I know.
PlayStation 3.
The OG ones are even better. But yeah, it was damn near like 8 or 9 years, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, and they
still have my PlayStation 2. Come to think of it,
I have a PS2 in the truck. The original PS3 was great because the original version could be backwards compatible to PS2 games, or at least many of the PS2 games. So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, the next product run of that they didn't include that capability any longer. And so the majority of the PS3s out there, from the second versions of the Fats to all the versions of the Slims, they weren't backwards compatible any longer. So
Yeah, I know. I found that out the hard way too.
Yeah, that's like the really sucks that like in a console's life when they make like the new varieties of the console, the newer ones get worse. I mean, this was even the case with the Sega Mega Drive, which is my go-to. The original Sega Mega Drive was the best one. The fat version of that one, that was the superior, the one with high definition, well, at least for the time. Visuals and sounds. Then came like the PlayStation, the Sega Mega Drive 2, which was slimmer and more bare bones, which was also not quite as optimized for visuals and audio as the one before. Then came the Genesis 3 in the States, and forget all about that one.
I was my Atari was taken away when they couldn't find me for a half a day because I was at my best friend Bobby Yamaguchi's house and I had taken my Atari with me and they thought I was kidnapped and it was the only time I ever heard. Yeah, I took the Atari because I took my Atari because I had so many games and Yamaguchi had different games and then Yamaguchi's mom would always make some bomb ass Japanese food while we were hanging out. So we just would play there. And there had been something that happened in the family where someone had left and my dad thought I was kidnapped by a different family member.
Oh, shit.
Wow. I come home with my Atari and my mom's pissed. She said, "You better call your dad right now." Because, we weren't living together, but he lives down the street and he was like, it's the only time I heard him cry. I was like, anyways, they took away my Atari. I could never play video games again.
Wow. That was an overreaction for a misunderstanding.
They took it all away altogether, not just for a while, you're saying.
Yeah, well, that's, it was kind of how some of you guys were reacting to me pranking you guys last week. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm going to take away your Atari, Polly.
Take away my Atari. I mean, as long as I just always wanted it back, And look, I can't even participate in this conversation because it was cut from me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, that's my story.
Yeah. Well, we all have our sub story for different things.
All right, and with that, I think we've hit the 3-hour mark, and I've hit about as much as I can take without passing out. I want to thank all you guys for listening, as always. I want to thank Yellow Flash for coming in earlier. Do check out his channel. Check out Latino Slant. Check out Culture Casino. And don't forget to check back, not just Wednesday, of course, and later on tonight with the ladies of Toxic Femme, but Thursday on our 200K celebration. We don't do these things very often, but we're going to announce some big things, including this little guy here. So stay tuned for that. And that, of course, is also a cue, I believe. Everybody keeps wanting to hear my song, too. I see. How about we play just a quick verse of my song, and then we'll do Koalas in the Rain and go out.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
And my song is now available on Amazon as well. So,
woohoo! Yeah, I bought it.
Awesome. Earthquaking, booty shaking, let's get this fucker started. High class, big brass, pretty little lions in a row. No cash, so crass, wrap it up in a bow. I'm so heavy, my head hangs low. When you gonna tell me what you don't know? The whole world's gone crazy, but that's okay now. Don't worry, baby, I won't fade away. Get down on your knees today, but I don't want you to break. No. Everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you. Maybe if I knew just what to say, then maybe you'd know what to do. Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala. Speaking of video games, one last minute super chat we got here from Mad Leprechaun says, "Who's excited for TMNT Shredder's Revenge?" We talked about this when the original trailer came out, and I said, "Oh, the game looks good, but I just want that series of the animation that we got in the trailer. Like, that's what I want."
I was thinking that too. I was like, "Whoa, that looks amazing! Why is this wasted on a game?"
Exactly.
Hey, I'm excited. I will definitely play the game. So,
Paulie, did you see that?
I'm gonna have to go to Bobby Yamaguchi's house and maybe I can play with her.
Maybe you can play it. Well, the trailer's on YouTube, so you can check that out now. So,
Yeah.
Thank you though for that, Mad Leprechaun, and thank you all once again. Take care of yourselves.